Yes, yes, we can
Okay.
start now.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of the training, where we learn some more topics of LN Studio through the development through LN Studio. Alongside, we will be also learning how to debug. Debug in the sense, if we want to see the code, one step by step, how it is executing, then how to do it. And another important topic we would learn is how PMCs are created through LN Studio. And after that, I have hands-on exercise for you on LN Studio, which if we can start today, can also be continued till tomorrow. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you all can see. So we will start.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Just a
think
quick, yeah, all right. Thank you. Just a quick revision before we move ahead for today's topic. So we have seen that LN Studio is used to build any new TX components, and as well as we can modify them. LN Studio is activity based. So there is a project under which we can have activities. One activity can be shared by multiple users, but we can make changes to one component at a time, meaning the black color tick mark, that is a checkout mode. The component can be used only when they are in checkout mode. After using, we need to check in the component. The color changes to blue color mark. And if we want to finalize, I finalize in the sense if we want the changes to be made available to everyone, we will end the activity. There are different workbenches. We saw there is a component explorer, activity explorer. We can also see project explorer. Then component editor is nothing but we will see today where we can write the code. Then building happens automatically. Building of the code means the code is saved on your local copy as well as synchronized with development server. Then we have compilation view, we have problems view, progress view, and so on. Quick revision of LN Studio screen. Not going in detail again because all of this we have already seen. So this section is called as Activity Explorer. Activity Explorer. This is called as Source Editor. This is how we will write the code. The keywords are already identified by the plugins installed for LN Studio. These are LN keywords which don't change. And the blue that you see here is a function name. And these are conditions. Based on condition, return true or false is done. Then build automatically must be yes, just to ensure that your code is getting synchronized with development server. It is found under the tab project. Then here you can see problem areas if there are any problems. Then the form editor on the session can be formed under form definition where we were adding fields. This is your component area. If the component area doesn't get synchronized on its own, it is better to restart because there could be CRDD happening, conversion to runtime happening, and hence the server must have been taken for downtime. Then moving ahead, this is a project server view. This is activity view, meaning the activity properties. Again, we've seen this yesterday, so not going in detail. This is VRC structure where we have ext VRC in which my component will originally reside. Once I want to make a change, I take it into activity VRC. Once I check out, if your private VRC is available, a copy is also made in private VRC. Once the changes are completed, we can check in the changes. It will go back to activity VRC. Once you end the activity, it goes back to project VRC and it is available to everyone from here. If you want to test when you are at this level, then link your activity while checking. this can be done at two places. One is debug and profile. Another is linking the activity to extension. We will again see this today while debugging. Then this is a pictorial representation, quite easy to understand. There are two components C and D which are checked out into this activity. Can anybody tell me in this example, is this activity shared across more than one user?
They
Hello?
said we can share activity to the another user.
Yeah, but in this example, in this structure here, can you tell me if this activity is shared across two users?
Uh, in the two user,
In this example,
uh, we can share the component in the if the same component in the one use it share in the one user one component.
yeah, you are right. But I want to ask the screen that you see. Okay, this is my project VRC where the component originally are. Once you
Yes.
want to make the change, it will come in activity VRC and then you can make the change. So I just want to know if this activity VRC is shared in this example. Anybody want to try? I will just wait for like 10-20 seconds. Okay. So in this example, the answer is yes. The activity is shared. If you know, we have user number 2 and user number 1 here. User 2 and user 1. And they are linked to one activity. If you see the diagram. So in this example, the activity is shared. So once you check in, the activity, the component will come in your activity VRC. And once you end the activity, the component will go in project VRC. A simple pictorial representation. This is just the representation how the component look on LN UI. Now you can develop various components on LN Studio. This is a list of component. One important thing to keep it in mind. There is no separate component called DAL2. It is always integrated with table. Similarly, there is no component called UI script. It is integrated with sessions. We have seen domain creation. There are various host of domain that can be done. The name of the domain can be package, module, and dot followed by any relevant domain name. For the exercise today, you will be creating some domains. These are properties where you can change some the way the domain should be treated. Like if you link that domain to a field, it should always be uppercase or lowercase, etc., which we saw yesterday. These are some additional properties. Here I've just given types of domain which you can refer later. The naming convention pretty clear. Just follow color codification here and here. Then you can also create tables, add table fields. Indices was one very important aspect of table. If you don't add index and if you try to save it, it should not allow. Another thing, table requires CRDT. So if a table by mistake doesn't have index, like if you forgot to add index, the CRDD will lead to a problem. It will not be a successful CRDD because table will always need index. Then we saw that how to see the DAL script, which is attached to table. Can anybody tell me the name of DAL script? Is it same to the table code or different? We saw this yesterday.
In the not same is different.
Mm, no, it is always going to be same. Like I told you, session and UI script, table and DAL. they are always together with its component. So the name is always same. So if you see this slide, this is name of dal TXCTM006, and this is the name of table.
Mm.
So it's always same. Dal name and table name will always be same. Session name and its UI script will always be same. Okay.
Okay.
Then there are certain properties of table, naming convention of table, not going in detail. Then the last topic that we saw yesterday was creating sessions. After creating session, we can give some properties here, like it should be maintain session, or you want to display it, or what are different types of session. Can anybody remember what are different types? The code like 5, 1, 2, and 4. It stands for what? Okay. So 5 stands for display. 2 stands for, 1 minute, let me just open. Okay. So 5 is going to stand for display session. 2 stands for update. 4 stands for print. And 1 stands for maintain. Okay. So if you want to create a session which you want to create a print session, okay? So what you will do, you will say tx trn. You will give some table code that is there. I'm just giving xxx right now. And you will add the print type, like type 4. So you will add 4 digit here. That's it. This is how the session code is formed. So let's go back to the screen. So we've seen different types of session. You can revise this, not going in the detail right now. This is how each session looks. Like if it is a type 5 session, it will just be for display where multiple records you can see at a time. In type 1, you can see only one record at a time, like one address at a time. If you saw in previous slide, there were multiple addresses, like 1, 2, 3, multiple. Then this is type 2, which is updating information. This is type 4, which is for printing, and so on. And we saw the session naming convention also. So this is what we've seen last time. Now let's go ahead and continue from here. So the agenda today would be components development, uh, the remaining component that we need to develop. We will debug and try to see how to debug. And also we will see a little part called as PMC creation. Now another important topic or one of the important component is label. I will just open my LN Studio. My workspace is defaulted. If I want to change the workspace, I can select from here. Okay. Going back to my slide. Yeah, label creation. In label creation, how do you actually name a label? Let's see that first. Okay, so naming of label I have not maintained, but yeah, let me tell you how to name a label. First is always going to be tx, which is your package. Another is going to be trn. Now suppose if I want to create a label for say table tx 130, okay? So what I do, I create a label. Let's say suppose A, B, C, D is a field which is referring to uh, text, okay? Or text field is there. And if I want to create a label called text, then what we need to do is we need to put some relevant information here so that we understand the label is created for what. So in case if I want to create a label for table field, I generally give table field name. So txtrn 130.txt is a label field, and what label description I will give? Text. So this is a label name, label code, which contains text. So any label that you create for table fields, generally give table field name. Okay. Then second could be if you want to create a label for any session purpose. So give session code and then its field. Suppose txtrn 01530 M000 is my session. Then what you can do, you can give txtrn1530 dot txt. So this is will be my label code. Because of this, I will understand 1530 is there. That means it is created for a session. So whenever you try to create a label, try to name it as relevant as possible. There is no hard rule to follow these naming convention, but to keep the uniformity across development. So again, labels are created in this way. We give a description. This is a code. And this is a context, like how it is used. Let's create one label. So this was my activity. To create a new component, I select the activity and I say new. I select a component called as label. I say next. The name I will give as tx, which is our package, trn. And if I want to create a label called for 130 as remark, so remk, I can give remark as remk and say what is the description. So this is my remark that I'm going to create, one label I want to create for this table. And here you can give the context, okay? That it is used for general use, extern, form command, or cascading. General use is used generally. Form command means if you want to link this label to a form command. Again, what is the meaning of form command? Let me connect to WGCL. Okay, if I open any session, if you see this file GPS coordinate, delete unused label, all of these actions will come under form command. This in LN development is called as form commands. Meaning from a session, you can perform some actions. These are form commands. These are also form commands, the one coming under references. Can anybody tell me what is difference between reference and action? We briefly, I briefly explained this yesterday. Okay, reference could be that from one session you can access some other process. Like you can go to delivery points from address. You can go to freight data. Action by its word, it means that you perform some action. Okay, you change some details or you perform some activity after this. So that comes under action, meaning delete unused addresses. This is an action that you're performing, right? So action will generally change the data. Reference is generally to refer, just to see. Okay. Yeah. Now going back to creating my address, I create going back to creating a label. I create a label for general use and I say finish. Okay, the label is already there. Let me create another label, RMK1. Okay, so it will come under my activity under labels. So if you see, we have these many labels and this is my label, which is RMK1, which we just created. I will just close all the other component here. Okay. Now if you see the label, this is a label code and this is a label description. Okay. What if I want to change the label description? Then simply check out the component, select the component, go to team, checkout, or there is a checkout option here also. And you can maintain like, remark note. I'm changing the label to remark note. As soon as I tab out, my length changes. The length for remark originally was 6. It changes to note remark 11 automatically. Now what is height, in this case? Suppose I want to print remark and note not in one line in as a label. Like for example, if I go here, if you see this zip code and postal code, it is printed in 2 rows, correct? This is a label. This is a single label which is getting printed in two. First row is only zip code, second row is postal code. So that can be done through defining height. Like if I want to print remark on one line and note on another line, that can be done if I define the height as 2. Standard will automatically print it. So this is generally used because if we have a lot of fields on session and if we want to properly align everything so that the display doesn't go beyond. I mean, that's it. I mean, if I say zip code is only going to be 5 characters, then I don't need a field which is so long. I can adjust the label to make it to concat it a little bit, to squeeze it a little bit. Okay. So this is how labels are done. Again, asterisk is there, meaning it is not saved. I save the label and it is in black right now, which is it is still in checkout mode. And you can go right click and say check in. Okay. Moving ahead. Yeah. Label can be named after a field. Label can be named for a session field, domain, etc. A logical name is expected. Now let's create question. One other important uh, component is question. Question is nothing but when you perform an activity. Like for example, if I want to delete this, a question is asked, correct? Delete the selected record. So if suppose you have a requirement where you want to ask a question, like if suppose you're expiring a business partner or inactivating a business partner. So just for confirmation, you ask a question that, okay, you are doing this. Do you want to continue? So you give an option here. So question is just like a normal question that we ask, which has options. Okay. And then after user selects yes and no, we can take different activity, like we can perform different activity. Like if I say yes, the record will be deleted. If I say no, the record would not be deleted in simple terms. So how to create a question? Again, go to your select a new component in your activity in which you want to create a label. Select the component type as question. Let me take the laser point. Okay, select the component type as question. Then you can define here, okay, warning, critical information, the way that I was telling you. So just look at this question here. The yellow sign appears as warning. Similarly, for information, there will be a blue sign, and for critical, there will be red sign. So that is done generally through this option. Is it a critical question, information question, or warning question? Now there are question properties. Again, naming a question should be relevant. Like if I'm using it for a table, for a functionality, then we generally use it. So functionality is executed on a session, correct? Like if you see, the address master is a session, and here there are different address master maintained. So this is address functionality. So if I want to create a question which is address related, then try to name it after the session, like tccom 4530, and then 001, 002, anything incremental you can give if you don't know what can be the code. All right. Now there is one thing here. Uh, if you notice that the question code starts from TTSTP, meaning it is coming from standard. If you have created a question and if you see that, then it will generally come with your package and your module in which you have created. So just to understand the origin of question, you can always refer what package it is coming from. It is coming from TT, TS, TC, TX. Then you understand that, okay, if it is coming from TX, meaning it is coming from your code. If it is coming from TS, TC, TT, meaning it is coming from standard code. All right. These are just hints to identify the origin of question. Going ahead, like I told you, we need an option always to questions. Okay. So options are generally linked here. You create a domain where there are, so this is enum type of domain that you can connect, and then default answer you can maintain, that what will be the default. So here, going back to the screen, if I say delete, if you see, the highlight is automatically going to no. It is highlighted, right? This means it is a default answer that system selects, but which we can change to yes. So whenever you give an option, like a value is changed, do you want to continue? So you can decide a default answer to user, like yes or no. That way, this is a default answer. So that can be given here. So in this case, for this question, default is set to yes, which you can change to no, and then you finish. These are session properties. There is not too much to a session property. So you give a description, like do you want to change the status of line quantity inspection also? Then the answer, you tell them like what options do you want to give them? Yes, no, continue, whatever enum is available, and then default answer, no or yes. And then tell them that what is the type of question. Is it warning? Is it critical? Okay. Let us see one example of question before we go ahead. So here again, I select my activity is selected. So if you see, the activity can also be changed from here. I'm working right now in B2. So my B2 activity is selected. And the component type that I select here will be question. And I say next. I will add a question, say TX, TRN. I want to do it for address. So I say 1530 and then 001. My first question. So description I'm giving, do you want to save the address? And question mark. So this is again a warning that I'm asking. Now here in domain, you can browse and select all enum domain, any enum domain. So we have a domain where there is an option of yes and no, which is TC, yes, no. I will select that. And the default answer that I will tell user is yes, that okay, he should be allowed to save, and by default user will want to select save. So that is also my default answer, and I say finish here. So if you see, there is a question that is created, and if you want to change anything, okay. So if I want to change anything, again, there is the same logic to check out. Now question will be appearing in my question folder. Like let me expand this a little bit. If you see, for different component, we have different folders created. All of this also gets synced to your local copy. Like if I try to see the local copy under properties, so this is B2, my activity. All the activity will come here under your local folder. B2, if I select under TX, I will have different folders, the same folders which are available here, like domain label, question, session, and table. And under question, my new question will be created, like 1530 and 001. QST is nothing but I think it is a question type file. So yeah, if I want to change anything, then simply you check out from here. Like if I say, do you want to save the created address? I have changed the address and I save it. So it is saved. If you want to check in, then it will appear with blue icon here and again go back to the activity. Now, one important component which is not present in the slide is messages. Like we can also create a message in the same fashion. We give some relevant name and some messages information to it. Like I'll quickly show you one message. So you select the type as message, you say next. You give some relevant message code. So if I want to create a message for address, so txtrn 1530.001, and I'm giving a description that address $1 created successfully. Created, okay? This is an information message. So I can select the type as information. Now what is $1? This you are creating a placeholder. Like for example, I want to give an information to user that address code 001 is created. So this in my logic I can replace. $1 is a placeholder for address code. We can replace that in our logic in the code. So I'm creating a placeholder. The placeholder can also be created for double fields. Like if you want for the date field also, or for string field. This is for string. S means string. D means date. Date no, double field. So I want to show the code. So it is a string address code. And hence I'm saying $1 Suppose it had two fields, two placeholder. Then the second placeholder will be $2. I mean, if how many number of placeholders you have, you want to increase the number here. If this is one and this is two. One and this can both can be string, one can be long, or both can be long. Anything is possible. Okay. So I'm just creating one placeholder right now and I say finish. So again folder is created which is called message and which is this message. I don't want to modify this message, so I'm not checking it out to show you. Again, all of the components that you see are in another activity VRC. The components that are checked in will be in ext VRC. Like if you see these components are ended, the activity for this is ended, so they are in ext VRC. Now let's go ahead to see another component, which is report creation. Report creation is we can create a report and link it to a table. Again, naming the report is something like this, like tx IBH is nothing but it is showing me the module code. And this is the session from which the report is getting executed. So you execute a report from a process. For example, sales order. So you print the sales order acknowledgement. Sorry, was purchase order acknowledgement, sales order reports, invoicing report. So it is generally executed from a process, from sales order process, purchase order process. But we can also create a standalone processing session of type 4 in which you can link the report. Now, that is also linked to a process, which is your print session. So generally, the name of the report should be relevant. The name that you see here should be relevant. This will be the description of report, and this will be the default size. These properties can be changed later. You can change the size of report later. It is no hard rule that once you create a report, it will be printed only in A4. It can be printed in the A4 is nothing but portrait. It can also be printed in landscape. Portrait meaning vertical and landscape is something that means horizontal. So for this particular demo of 3 week, report creation, we will be looking new report creation and also modifying anything in standard report we will be seeing in the last week when we can do this in person, because there are all of this report creation, report designer and report personalization. All of this goes hand in hand. So you also need to understand what is report personalization and what is report extension. Hence, all of this report creation we will see in the last week. This is just some information available here in the properties. So there is a width that you can define to the report, which is 132. And these are generally margins, okay? Top margin, how much you want to keep. This is bottom margin and so on. You can select the default font of the report. Should it be italic, bold, or underline, and etc. But this can be also changed. There is no hard rule that the font once decided here cannot be changed. The same goes for margin also. The same goes for your width also. Now there are here some important properties of a report. We'll see that one by one. First, I'll go back to this slide, but before that, let me explain what are different type of report and what report does. Okay. So as we know that reports are used to consolidate data, which will be printed together in the way we want. Okay, so we can consolidate data, different data from different tables, and make them appear the way we want. The data is displayed. The data you can of course get from database. So that is one line that we've written here. Now there are three major types of report in general, I mean, okay. So one is where you see the data vertically. So I will show you an example. Now if suppose I print this address, so if you see the data is shown vertically. So this is your type 1 report. Okay. Type 2 report means the columns are appearing like this, like address code, country, zip code, like this. So multiple records you can see in type 2 report. Let me show that to you here. So if you see, this is VAT code, the report of VAT code, and VAT codes are printed vertically, one after the other. Okay. What is type 2 report? Type 2 report means it is printed in column and line format. Like these are my heading columns like item code, description, purchase price, stock on hand, and stock. And here if you see, at a time, I can see multiple items. And in this you can see you have to trace down to understand what is VAT code 2 and so on. So this is your type 2 report, which is printing horizontally. And there is third famous type of report where we have to group, like you can group the information, like an item. Now how they are printed? They are grouping it based on item group. So 010 is my item group. All the items belonging to this group will be clubbed together. Similarly, there is the item group 011. All the item belonging to 011 will be clubbed together. So type 3 report is generally used for grouping. This is most widely used report. Like if suppose you want to print purchase order information, like from purchase order A to purchase order Z, and the purchase order should be clubbed based on your suppliers. So if suppose supplier A, you have generated 10 purchase order for supplier A and again 5 for supplier B. So you will generally group it that way. So you understand totals and all together. So this type of report is most widely used. Again, you can customize it the way we want. There is no hard rule of creating a report. So even if you create a report of type 1, but you can still in LN Designer modify and make it as type 2 report. There is no hard rule to it. Okay. So yeah, a new LN report will be created in LN Studio. Any new report that we create. Report also has a report script associated where if you can write some logic, like before printing the layout. So these are layouts generally. I will explain it to you further. Okay. So these are layout. Header means what? That a particular information gets printed at the header of each page. Imagine this as your Word document, okay? So if I open a Word doc, so if anything that I give in header here, okay? So if I give it test 1, so even in my next page, test 1 will appear, okay? So this is a simple example I can give it so that you can relate. Header means what? It prints on every page of a report. And similarly, footer. So header and footer are in correlation. So in anything that I print in a footer will be printed on footer of every page. So if you see this, on my page 1, test 1 is printed as header, test 2 as printed on footer. Similarly, test 1 is printed on header and test 2 should be printed on footer. So header and footer go hand in hand. Header simply at the top, footer simply at the bottom, but will be printed on every page. So here we define the layout, like how many header you want. So in general, uh, one practical example if I have to give you, we generally print logo in header, report logos, okay? Or probably report name. What is the name of a report? Or through which company are you printing it? On what date are you printing in? So all of that information we generally give it in header so that it repeats on every page. Then second, very famous. So these are called layouts. I will explain every layout in detail in some time. But the practicality, we will only do it in third week because it goes hand in hand. So here again, this we have already seen. Okay. So here I was talking about layouts. We can add different layouts in the report. I will explain what are the different layouts available. Whatever report we want to customize, we can do it in report personalization. So again, for this, you need to know what is report personalization. If there is a standard report. So now you understand that you create a new report on LN Studio, new TX report. But what if there is a standard report and you want to add some logic in it? So adding a logic can be done in report extension, but changing how the report looks, like look and feel of the report can be done in personalization. There are two things, report extension and report personalization. So by the word itself, you should understand extension means you are extending the logic of standard. Personalization means you're personalizing it with your needs of business. That means personalization. Look and feel of report. Okay, now let's see report layout one by one. I have already explained you what is header. It comes at the top of every page in a report. There is one important layout called as before report. Before report means what? If suppose, let me go back to my notepad. Okay. If suppose I want to print only a record only at the first time in the report, like suppose if I want to print Let's say test report. Like I want to give a word test report, meaning this is used for testing. And this I don't want to repeat on every page. I don't want to print it as a header at every page. But this should be printed only once at the start of report. That is done in before report. Before report is one of the layout. So the word itself explains, right? Like before the report starts, that is where it is printed. So this is the first section. Now in correlation, we also have after report. Can anyone guesses what, uh, I mean, how after report is printed? It is in correlation of before report.
You ask again, Kun.
Sorry?
Could you ask again?
Okay. So have you understood what is before report?
No, not quite sure. So please explain.
Okay. So there are different layouts in LN report. When we create a report, we can define different layouts.
Yes.
One is header. Header I have already explained that header gets printed on every page. First record on every page. Similarly, we have a layout called before report. Before report, in before report, what you can do is print the record, any information that you want, any information you want to print in a report, which should be printed only once in the report at the top. That is done in before report. Okay.
Okay, understood.
Similarly, in correlation, there is after report, meaning if you want to print any information in the report only once, but at the end. Like if suppose I want to say start of report. Okay. And if I want to say end of report. So start of report should be printed only once in my report, not on every page, correct?
Right.
So that information I will write in before report. Like once the report is printed at the top, it will be printed. Similarly, after report in report layout, you can print the information which should be printed only once, but at the end. So this information I will print in end of report. Similarly, we have another layout called header. This we already saw. So here I will just write prints once in a report at the start. And this, yes, I see somebody has a question.
Yeah, I have a question, but it's similar like a header and footer in the Microsoft
Yes.
Word.
Yes.
Okay,
But
got it.
the important is it is printed only once.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you see header and footer, like I explained in the Word doc, the header and footer here gets repeated on every page, correct? So this is getting printed on page 1. On page 2 also see the header. I see the header. So header, footer. These are correlation, okay? You try to understand this with correlations. Like before report meaning it is printed once in a report at the start. Then this is printed on every page at start. This is printed on every page at the end. The header footer I've explained. Now there is another important thing which is called as detail layout. Can anybody guess what this could be? Okay, let me go back to my example. Okay, here if you see, these item information are details which are repeating. So this comes under detail layout.
Okay,
Can you tell me, yeah, can you tell me what could be header layout in this? What is header information in this?
And company
the company item.
item page one company code.
Yes, you are right. Which will repeat on every page. Correct? Yeah, you are right. So this is detail which prints on every, this is detail information which is getting printed in the report.
Including the header of the table, right?
Yes. So header of the table, it depends how you're printing the report. So if
Okay.
you're only printing, if you're only printing one sales order, then header information can come at top. If
Okay.
you're printing multiple orders, then you can design a report where you will club information based on order number. Okay.
Okay.
Now another important layouts are before field and after field, which comes here. So if you remember, I have showed it to you this example, correct? This item group is getting clubbed. So clubbing of these item groups is nothing but a before field layout. This happens in before field. And in before field, you club the records you want. And in after field, you can show the total. Meaning, this is happening to this in simple terms, if you understand, this is just happening to group the information before field and after field. Like what you want to do before a particular group is printed and what you want to do after a particular group is printed. Okay. So before field and after field is generally used for grouping. In before field, you can expect information to be printed before a group is printed. Similarly, in correlation, used for grouping again, but in after field, you can expect information to be printed after a group is printed. So if you relate this information here, so I'm printing item group colon my group number, item group number in before field. Then I'm printing the details here one after the other. And then I'm showing the total in after group. Like after this group is printed, I show the total. So these are the types of layout. One is before report. It gets printed only once at the start of the report. In correlation, there is after report. It gets printed again only once, but at the end of report. Header and footer gets repeated on every page. This prints at the top. This is printed at the bottom. Then detailed report, meaning the line information. And before field is used for grouping. And the information that is here is printed before the group is printed. Then the detail section gets printed. And then the after field is getting printed, where we generally show totals, total of VAT, grand total. All of this information is generally done in after field. Even if this you don't understand right now, that is fine. We will be having a dedicated 1 week session to understand reports. So that's okay. But try to understand this is how it is. Even if it's not clear right now, is fine. I don't expect you to understand this on the 4th day of training. But this is how the reports are getting printed. Let's go back. So yeah, again revision. Before report is printed once at the start of a report. Header is printed on top of every page. Before field used to print data when group changes. Details used to print detail record which is repeats in a group. I mean a detail record like item details one after the other you keep on printing. So if you want to print sales order, you print all header information in header. Then you print all detail like line 1, line 2, line 3, all these information in a particular detail. Now if you print multiple sales order together, then you form a group based on sales order and you repeat the lines in it. Okay, and then you show the total in after field. We will see this particular report thing also, like creation of new report group wise. After field means it is used to print data. 1 minute, there is one small change here. After the group changes. Yeah. Footer means it is used to print the data at end of every page. And after report means printed once at the end of report. So these are in correlation. Before report, after report. Header, footer. Before field, after field. And then there is detail. Okay. Now let's go back and resume our changes that we were doing to address session. Before going ahead, just want to ask if you want a break for 5 minutes or we can continue.
Before breaking, I have 3 questions to ask
Yeah,
you.
please. Yeah.
Okay, for the report, I see on the screen when we create a new comment of the report, the report can use for multi-table to show the data into the reports.
Yes. Multiple table, right? You mean
Yes.
if you want to print data from multiple tables? Yeah, we can do that.
Can you show the PowerPoint that you create a reporting, the first screen? Can you go back to the slide?
Yeah, yeah.
That create a new component of the report.
Okay, this one.
Back.
Is this? Let me expand this for you.
Go to slide number 10 or even.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Yeah.
10.
Is this?
Yes, let me see.
Is this the one?
Okay, skip for me also. You just answer me that the report can get the data from multi-table. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
we can have data from multiple table. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So if
the
you
second
see,
thing,
just Kunsakal, one thing here. If you see, we never map a table here. Like while creating a report, have you seen table code anywhere? No, right? So we are not mapping a table to report. So we can print the data through multiple tables. Yeah, go ahead, please.
okay. Maybe I make something wrong in our studio. The next question is when you talk about the message or question component creations, how to attach this component to the station.
Yes, we will see that. We will see that in the logic.
Okay, we will have separate session, right?
No, today only I will show you how to code a little bit. Yeah, how to use this, I will show you.
And also to mapping the value to the placeholder of the message component, right? You will show later.
How to map what?
Mapping the value to the placeholder. Go to the message.
Okay.
Please go to message. Message. PowerPoint message.
Yeah, 1
The
minute.
slide that show.
Yeah, if I go to message then. Acha, this one. Yeah. The placeholder.
How to mapping the value.
Yeah. I will show it to you. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
later, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
No question for me. Anyone else? Okay, then should we have take a break? 5 minutes?
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's
Okay,
take a break. Yeah, thank you.
คุณใหญ่ครับคุณใหญ่ได้ยินไหมเอ่ย
ได้ยินครับทำไมอ่ะ
ครับคุณใหญ่เข้าตัว TST ได้ยังนะผมไม่มั่นใจ
ดีน่าจะเข้าได้มั้งเห็นมีลาก็อินอยู่
ผมเข้าไป connect อะไรมาแล้วแต่ผมใช้ชื่อเก่าอ่ะ ชื่อ GC ที่ภูมิส่งเข้าเมลฉบับแรกตั้งแต่ก่อนปีใหม่เลย
TST หลอกแป๊บนะไม่ต้องลองดูเมลให้หน่อยเขาพูดกับเมลโอเมก้าหรือเมลอะไรหรือเปล่า
ไม่เหลือด้วย
มันพันกันอยู่ ตอนนี้มันพันกันอยู่คุณภูมิ
แป๊บนะ
แต่จริงๆอ่ะผมอยากใช้เมลโอเมก้าไงเพราะว่ามันจะได้เป็นยูเซอร์เดียว
ใครไปผูกเมล GC ก็ไม่รู้จริงๆอ่ะต้องผูกเมลโอเมก้าเพราะเป็นซิงเกิลไฟล์ออกมาชิ้น
ใช่ทีเนี้ยเมื่อวาน คือผมกลัวว่าผมจะตามหลังเยอะใช่ป่ะคุณภูมิไปดูวิดีโอผมก็เลยใช้เมลเก่าก่อนอะไรเงี้ย
เหมือนตอนนั้นที่เขาสร้าง TST ให้คุณใหญ่อะครับเหมือนเขาผูกเมล PTGC คุกเดี๋ยวคุณใหญ่ใช้ก่อนนะ
ผมเลยใช้เมลนั้นไปก่อน
เปลี่ยนให้อีกทีนึง
ใช่
แล้วเดี๋ยวผมเปลี่ยนให้อีกทีนึง
ได้ผมไม่ได้
โอเคครับขอบคุณครับคุณใหญ่
ครับแล้วตอนวันที่ซูเปอร์ยูเซอร์มาเรียนเนี่ยครับจะเรียนอะไรคล้ายๆเราไหมครับหรือว่าเบาบางกว่า
อันไหนนะคุณใหญ่ขอโทษทีครับ
วันที่17-19อะครับดีครับผมเสียงเบา
ของยูเซอร์เหรอผมว่าไม่
Super User
ไม่น่าแอดวานซ์ของเรานะ
ไม่น่าเป็นแบบนี้ใช่ไหม
แอดวานซ์ไปหน่อยใช่เพราะว่าของเรามันต้องสร้างตั้งแต่ data type สร้างฟอร์มอะไรพวกอย่างมันแอดวานซ์ไปนิดนึง
แล้วของ Super User วันนั้นจะเรียนอะไรเรื่องการให้สิทธิ์การอะไรอย่างนั้นมากกว่าใช่ไหมครับ
เข้าใจ
เรื่
ว่า
อง
ข
ข
อ
อง งการ
user
set
จะ
low
เน้นหลักๆเรื่องของ report designer ครับคุณใหญ่ถ้าเป็น user นะจะเป็นอีกอันนึงเลย
จะเป็นอีกอันนึงเลย
ใช่ report designer เฉพาะเลยว่าถ้าเขาจะ build report เองคอนเซ็ปต์เป็นยังไงจะต้องไปดึงฟิลยังไงเทเบิลไหน
แต่ว่าถ้าเป็นแบบนั้นน่ะเขาก็ต้องกลับมาที่พวกเราเทรนกันที่ผ่านมาในสัปดาห์นี้อยู่ดีเพราะว่ามันต้อง based on activity message อะไรต่างๆพวกนี้อยู่ดีไหมครับ
ผมว่าไม่เหมือนกันคุณใหญ่เพราะว่าของเราอ่ะจะใช้ LN Studio จะเป็นกึ่งเดฟละกันแต่ของ user
เอาของเราเป็นเหมือนแบบคล้ายๆเอา system อะ low code นิดนึงแต่อาจจะไม่เท่าเอา system ของ
ประมาณนั้นใช่แต่ของ user ผมเข้าใจว่า
ก็เป็นเหมือน Power BI แต่อาจจะไม่ใช่ถึงขั้น Power BI แค่ดึงฟิลที่มีอยู่แล้วไปทำรีพอร์ตอะไรอย่างนี้เนาะ
ถูกต้องแต่ถูกนะผมเข้าใจว่าประมาณนั้นนะผมยังไม่เห็นเหมือนกันผมเลยไม่ชัวร์แต่ผมเข้าใจว่า user มาเรียนเหมือนเราก็คงจะยากอะเพราะว่าเราบางอันนั้นยากเลยไม่แน่ใจ
ไม่หรอกเพราะว่านั่งข้าง PS เขาจะได้สบายใจว่ามันไม่ต้องยากขนาดนี้
บอก PS ไม่ยากขนาดนี้คุณใหญ่ไม่ยากขนาดนี้
ได้
โอเคครับขอบคุณครับ
Okay, so I'm here. Are we ready to start?
คุณบีแจงครับเวสคุณสกล around 2 or 3 minutes ครับ sorry ครับ
Sorry, no problem, sure.
we can start now.
Before you start, I have a question. Let me show the screen, Kumbijan.
Okay.
That the question related to the first question before had a break. Okay. Okay, I do clear the component, right? And go to the report. I just question that what it does mean the general report because when we click it different the screen that we show to you because the application before had a break I see have only one table can select but if we don't or we uncheck it's the same screen that show in the slide the next screen.
Yeah.
So the question is
generate report. Okay, so generate report is nothing but it's going to you generate the report and attach it to session. Okay, and when you click this and say next, for example, so if you are attaching to a session, meaning it has a table in it. Okay, if you attach to a session means it has a table. But now, for example, if you want to use multiple tables, even if you have attached only one table, that is still a possibility. It is not a restriction. We can use multiple tables. Okay. I'll show it to you when we do. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
so I,
You just go ahead on your agenda. I think.
yeah. I did not want it to start today because it will lead to confusion. Hence,
Okay.
let's start report when we are doing it, okay? Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm sharing my screen.
Go back to your skill.
Sure. Let me know once you can see.
Yes.
Okay. So I am resuming back our yesterday address master changes that we were doing. Let us enhance it a little more. And in that enhancement, we will also learn some part of coding. Now, before that, I want to give you one, show you one feature that is available in LN Studio. So if you have these tabs, okay, file, edit, navigate, and all of these tabs. So under help, if you click help content, you will have a user guide, sort of a user guide. In this, the question that you had, okay, how to do the JCA connectivity and why it is required. So you can always go here and understand how it is done. How do you configure LN Studio? Okay, this information is available to you from here. All right, this is one thing. Another thing is the programming logic that we will follow. Okay, we will be doing little coding today, not too much, but a simple coding, and also we will try to debug that you can understand from this programmer's guide. The programmer guide itself tells you that it is used for programming. So when you open programmer guide, there are different sections. Like 4GL section is used for coding information in your UI script. So if you see, these are the 4GL events, like before program, zoom section, group section, choice section, field section. So here are different sections and you can understand the syntax of it, each of it. All right. So this is just a technical guide in short. 4GL meaning for UI. Then similarly, we have here called as DAL2. So in DAL2, you will understand different hooks that we use in DAL. Like if your field is applicable, then you can code the logic here somewhere. And similarly, all right. So this may come handy to you. It is a programmer's guide. You can just refer whenever you want. Because we also sometimes don't remember the syntax. So we will also come here and we read the syntax. Like what is the syntax if I want to write field is applicable. So I will go here, read field is applicable, and then implement my code. Okay, here there is a sample code that is available. So just it is just for reference, but there are a lot of other things that goes beyond this. So this is integrated within your help content only. Now let's go ahead and move towards our address enhancement that we are doing. Yeah, so if you remember, I have added these many fields yesterday. We have gotten CRDD done also. So there is code field, name, type, city, creation date and all of this. These are available at table level. Now let's go ahead and enhance this session a little more. Okay. Now first of all, let's see how this session looks like on the UI without checking in. I have not checked in, okay? This is still under my checkout mode with black color sign. So what I need to do in order to see this changes in my LN UI? Can anybody prompt? If I have to see this session which is not checked in on LN UI, what action do I need to do? How do I see this? Any guesses? Okay. The first action that I need to do is I need to link my activity. So the activity in which we have the activity in which we have this checked out component, we have to be in that activity first, correct? How to be in that activity? I go back to menu, I go to options and say debug and profile, and I set my activity here. You select the application and you change your activity context. So this ID WGCL B2 is my activity, and I simply say OK. So right now I am in this context. So even I have not checked in the code, I can still see the changes. All right. Now let's find out our session and see how it is looking right now. What is the session code? Let's go back and find out. 1530. And you can run from here. Okay. So if you see, the session only has one field right now, which is address code. When I say new, it will ask me to add the address code. That's it. There is only one field. Now let us add some more fields here. I'm going back to LN Studio. And under this session, now I want you to prompt me. Okay, I'm not going to teach this step by step. Any one of you voluntarily prompt me. What do I have to do if I have to add fields in a session? Of course, I mean, if there are no answers, I can tell, but then let's keep this interactive. Anyone?
You can double click to the session, check out first.
Yeah, it is checked out already.
Oh.
If you see, there is a black. Okay,
Okay, double click.
I double click. Okay. Yeah, and then?
In the form section, form definition, can we do?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we can drag from the right hand side to the left hand side or add new sheet.
Correct, you are right. Yeah. So instead of dragging, what I will do, I will add all the fields that I want. So I will just say add all table fields. Okay. So if you see, all the table fields have been added, whatever are there in my table, and I can simply save it. Now let's go back into my session and try to run the session again. So I'm in same activity, okay? I don't have to set the activity again. I am already in my activity, which you can see from debug and profile from here. So you can still set the activity. I'm still in that my activity, and I will now run the session. Yeah. Now can you see how many fields are there? All the fields have come. Okay. Now if I want to add a record, I will say new to it, and I simply add the record. So address code, I will give, say, AD 00001. Can anybody tell me, I have given AD in small. How has it picked up and made it uppercase? Any one of you?
What can you say again? We need to show the uppercase, right?
Okay, so what I did, I have entered AD all zeros 1 as my address code. Okay. As soon as I tab out, it goes into uppercase.
Okay.
It
What
becomes
the,
yeah. So this is happening because if you remember, we created a domain yesterday where we
yes.
said that it will be of length 7 and uppercase, and I have linked that domain here to my code, address code.
Yes, correct.
So that is the reason it is formatting the address code for us.
Okay.
So this is how you can relate. Okay.
Yes.
Now we will just one by one, we will just see the properties of the field. This is my address code. This is my address name. This is the type of address which is enumerated. This is country. city, creation date, and email ID. Just one quick thing I want to check. If I go in my table, okay, coming back here. Now there are asterisks to a field, meaning we have already made them mandatory. Okay. There are asterisks to table field, meaning we have made them mandatory at session table level. That is how there is an asterisk here. So if I go back, if you see address code has an asterisk. So in address code, we say mandatory as yes. Similarly for city, city also has mandatory yes, and mail. So mail also has mandatory as yes. So that is the reason we get asterisk here. Now let's see some session properties. Okay, let's moving ahead. So see, this is how the enum will appear. Your office address, residential address, mailing address, and warehouse address. This is what we have added. And this is how my date field will appear. Like somebody had a question yesterday, how the date field appear. So when you have a field of domain date, TC date, which is UTC, so this is how it will appear for you to select. And this is my email address field. Now, let's see some more session properties, what we can do with session fields. So I'm going with country. Here in country, I want to, when I select the data here, okay, in country, when I can select the data in country field, it is not always necessary that I will know the country field, like, right? Like if I go in address master. So if you see the address master, they have provided a zoom to reference table. Like you can refer to the reference table and select the information from there. So zoom is required. Why? Because it is not always necessary you will understand or you will remember the state code. You will remember the postal code. So it's always better to zoom and get it from the master. So zooming is going to open the master session for you and you select a record and then that field will appear here. So let's see how to apply the zoom in our address. So for country field, I want to apply a zoom to my country's master. So here, if you see, there are different properties of session field. Okay. Now, first property, I have not made this mandatory at table level. Okay. My country field is not mandatory at table. It is not mandatory. So another place where you can make it mandatory is session level. So under session, you have this mandatory input. So you can set this as true when you want to execute. That is important property. Then here there are labels. You can modify the label you want. Here there is a position that where you want this field to be. And it is display, like how you want the field to display. This is miscellaneous. Now we want to give a zoom. So it will come under zoom. We want to zoom to a session. So we need to select session. Then these properties will be enabled for you. Like what session you need to zoom to and what field you need to select. So I need to zoom to countries master because this is a country field. So let's understand what is a session of my country master. So I go to menu, master data, port definition, logistics, and countries. Okay. So this is my country's session code, which is this one. I select this and I want to zoom to this session, countries master. So I give here country master session code. And what field from this session should be returned? So this is my country master. What field do I want in return? I want country code. So that is what you can select from here. You say browse and whatever is country, you select the country code and simply save. Okay. Now let's see how your country is appearing on your new screen of address. So I'm still in my master data and I'm still in my activity, sorry, not master data. And I will simply run this. When I say new, okay, it is not reflected. 1 minute. Yeah, it is reflected. If you see country, we have a zoom here in country. So whenever I zoom this country, it will zoom to my country as master. And whenever I select a record will be returned here, like AFJ. Similarly, you can select anything, like if suppose UAE. So I'm selecting this. It will appear here. Okay. So this is one important property of session where we can provide zoom to master data fields. And we can also give, like, if this is not mandatory, but I can give a mandatory check here. But let's not do that right now because I'll show it to you at code level. Another important aspect, like zoom we already understood, this we already understood. Okay, now let's go back and understand different checks. Okay, so let's try and maintain one record here. So I'm saying AD, all zeros 1. This is address 1. And I can select like what should be the address. Should it be office address, residential address, mailing address, or warehouse address? So I will say residential address and I will select the country. Let's say Australia. And then else for city, also I need a zoom, correct? Because I don't know what are the cities available in Australia. So let's go back again and provide zoom to cities. So first let's see the cities table, cities session, sorry. I go to zoom. I select zoom as session. And then I give my zoom to, which is my cities master. And then I want, can anybody tell me which field do I want here in return? For city field, when I'm providing the zoom, what field do I want in return? Is it city? Correct. I need city field, right? For after I zoom it, after I zoom and select a record, I need city. So I will select city and say okay and save it. Okay. So let me go back to my session and reopen it. I will say that I don't want to save this right now. I go to address master and say new. So if you see there is a zoom available now to city. So address name I'm giving as address 1. Residential address. Country I'm selecting. Let's select any country. Okay, let's select this one. And let's select a city within it. So when I zoom it, it will automatically show me first record. There is also a way where we can automatically zoom to the country that is selected but it will also need the state and we don't have state here. So right now let us just search for Thailand. So if you see all the cities under Thailand have come and I'm selecting any one of it. And I'm doing a creation date as today's date. And I'm putting some email address. Okay, and I save it. Now, as soon as I save it, if you see, whatever is my primary index will go out to gray. Like I told you, primary index will be the unique identifier. Okay. Now let's assume if I try to add a new record with same value like AD1, it should not allow. It says that record already exists. So the unique identifier for address master is AD address code. So your address code has to be unique. Got it? Any questions here? Okay.
Now,
Okay. Let's go ahead and play around these fields. Okay. What we will do, creation date, right now it is asking user to input, right? So let's do one thing. We will put creation date as current date when a new record is created. All right. So let's see how to do that. And in a code. Okay. Let's do this in as a logical entity in the code. So I go back to my LN Studio. Now there are various places. There are several places at which you can actually code this, like creating a new, whenever a new record is created, if you want to default it with some default values, which can also be changed. So there are various places where you can do, which of course you will better understand when you get some hands-on on this exercise or this programming guide that is available here. So one field, so okay, let me once quickly show you how to read this document. So if I'm suppose reading 4GL, again 4GL language is going to help me code in my UI script. So these are all sections, okay? This you called as form section. For let's assume if we take field section, okay? So under field section, this is a main section, meaning you give field dot field name, like under which field you want to perform an activity. So if you have any programming experience in the past in .NET, so these are generally hooks, okay? These are generally event, that at which event a particular action is performed. That if suppose at the field event, so before field you want to perform anything before field, you want to perform any actions when the field is changed, like when the field is particularly changed, like after you tab out. So as soon as you tab out, you want to make some other actions. So that is what you can do here. So basically, there are different hooks here. There are different event. So how to read the guide? In 4GL, you will find out the main section, which is your field section. Then under field, you can specify that for which field you want to perform the checks. Like suppose, let me take this side by side in a notepad. Okay. So let's say that I want to, yeah, okay. So let's say that I want to program some logic on address code field. Okay. So what will I do? My main section will be field dot the field code txtrn 130 dot code. This is my address code. After which I give colon. So if you see the field name here is nothing but the field name that we give from table. And after this, so this is my main section. After this, these are the subsections. We can use any of one. Like if I want to perform any action before the field when displayed for the first time. So if you read all of this, you will understand what these sections are used for. Okay. So let's assume if I want to let's take a case where I want to default the value of creation date to today's date as soon as my address field is changed. Okay. Or we can also take that in after input. So if suppose that is my case, then I will implement this check, this hook, that as soon as my address code is changed, meaning I'm implementing this on address code. When it is changed, you put colon, and what you want to do, you write inside it. So if my address code is changed, then update the creation date. Of course, this is not a programming language. This is not in the language that LN accepts, but this is condition that I'm showing that, okay, whenever my address code changes, the things to do is update the creation date. This, of course, we need to convert in LN language, this particular logic. So this is how you will implement the LN UI code. There are different sections here. Let's go back to the screen. There are different sections. Program section is also there, first section. In program section, what you want to do before the program is started, meaning before your screen actually loads. This is where it gets executed. After the form is read, meaning if after all the fields are read, what you want to do. All of this is given here. Okay. So if suppose in before program, I want to give a message that enter a new address. So you are entering a new address. If suppose that is a message I want to give, so that I can give in before program. Or if suppose a particular user on certain condition should not open a session, that in
Yeah.
before program we can restrict that. Yeah, anybody has a question?
Could I think you can go quickly on this session on the topic, and you
Okay.
just highlight.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So just for the navigation point of view, you can learn 4GL from here and DAL from here. Okay. So let's go back and see that, put some conditions here. So I also have DAL in place. So whatever table fields we have, we can implement the logic in its source, like the DAL source. Okay. So I will check out DAL and let's see some logic here. Okay.
Before going to the table or
Yeah.
down, can you go to the session first and go to the sort like that? You just
Okay.
demonstrate the
Okay. Sure, sure,
the,
sure. Okay.
the session.
So what I will do, as soon as, so here is a source code of session, and here are different sections where you can program. So for example, if I'm programming in before dot program, if I want to give a message that you will now enter a new program. So how to write a message? There is a message keyword which is available in LN. So you can use mess is used to create a message, show a message. Now what message you want to display, you can write it in double quote in a form of a message code, and then simply press 1. When you say 1, the message will be shown on the screen to you. When you say 0, the message will be displayed in the bar at the below on the session. So let's see one example of
Okay,
message.
it is message
Let
type, right?
mhm.
110 is a message type.
It is not a type, but it is a kind of message. So now,
A type of message.
so
Okay,
if you,
sorry.
yeah,
Type.
if you see, this is an information you see, right? Writable insert. It is coming at the end of a session. So when you put 0 here, the message will not be shown on a window. It will be shown here at the bottom. And when you put 1 here, it will be shown as a window. I'll show it to you. Give me a moment. So let me create a new message. So I'm doing it for session. So let's create it under session. txtrn1530.001. 1 minute. You are entering in address master. So this is just an information I'm giving. Okay, this is already taken. I'll take 2 and finish.
Please add the placeholder here also so we can understand.
That will be done after we save the address. I will show that
Okay.
to you also.
Okay.
Okay. So when I go to my address master, the address message that I have created, okay, txtrn 1530.002. So you can give it here txtrn 1530.002, and I'm giving this as 1. Now let's see how this message appears. Okay, going back to the screen. I'll open address master. So I have written it in before program, right? So as soon as I open the session, it gives me a message. You are entering in address master. As I say, okay, it will open the session for me. So this is how the message will appear when we say mess. Okay. As I say mess, it appears like this. And when I say okay, it opens the session for me. Now, what if I don't want to give it as a screen? So I can give the option as 0 here. Now let's see what happens. Okay. Now if I close this and say start again. So if you see, the message appeared here. You are entering in address master. It was not a screen for you. It appeared as an information below. So this can be managed by this parameter 1 and 0. You can toggle between 1 and 0. All right. So these are the hooks in which you can implement the logic. Let's implement one more logic here, valid logic. What I will do, as soon as my address code is changed or address name is changed, let's go on address code. As soon as my address code is changed, I need to populate the creation date. The same example that we did right now. So let's go on my source. Can anybody prompt? I just explained a bit ago that whenever my address changes, meaning I'm doing it on field section. So I place field here and my field code tx trn 130 dot code. Okay. And what do I need to do after, as soon as my field changes? So it will come in when field change hook. So when dot field dot changes colon again. And here I need to implement the logic. So here for better segregation, I will say this is program section end and this is field section. So the green lines that you see here are comments. Okay, if you want to write some code and if you want to mention some comments, they are given in such green lines which follow after pipe. So when you want to comment something, you follow pipe and write the code. And if you want to write block comments, you can select this and press control and pipe. So that's how control and backward slash. That's how the comment will appear. Okay. So what I want to do, as soon as my code changes, I want to update creation date. So let's see what is my creation date, txtrn130 dot. I want to know what is the creation date code. So I go to form definiter, C date. C date is my creation date, which is equal to today's date. Okay, so we also have different function to understand what is today's date, what is today's date in UTC. So you can refer the programmer's guide to understand. So I'm writing utc.num. This is a predefined function which gets me today's date with date and time. So as soon as my address code changes, I will populate it with creation date. I will populate creation date with today's date. All right, now let's see a simple logic here. I start the session and I say new. Now let's add another address because address 1 is already added. Now as soon as this field changes, my creation date, 1 minute. Oh, okay. I need to display also. So creation date has come, but we need to also display. Creation date was shown, but we explicitly need to display. Otherwise, this will appear only when you touch these fields. So here I will write one more logic to simply display the field. So I'm displaying this field. Which field? Creation date. And I save it. So when field changes, will change the field, but not display the field. Okay, so it says that unresolved reference, meaning there is some problem in this function. So let's see. Okay, so the format was wrong. Display, I'm displaying this field. You can understand again the format from the programmer's guide, because we also refer the programmer's guide very often to understand the format. So here there are functions. Here you can understand different function for display and etc. Let's go back. Try to add a new record. Yeah. Now if you see, as soon as I tab out, my creation date appears. So such logic you can write in any of the hook that you want in your UI script. Otherwise, any of the hook that you want in DAL. Now let's try to get country description here. Okay. Now if you see, there is no description to the country. Let's open another first record that we had. Or there was a description to country. Yeah, there is a description to country. Okay, then let's read the description to city field. Let's see if it has a description. Yeah, it has a description. So what happens is, I have not given a reference to city field in table, and hence the description of city did not come. But for country, we have a reference and the description followed. So wherever you give reference in general, it will follow the description also. So for city, let's add a form field. Like I want to display the city description here and also want to fetch the data. So let's add a form field. Form field means what? It is a type of field, but it is not a table field. So it is again added under form definition only. So where do I want to add? I want to add after city. So I click city, I right click and I say add child and field. So this is how I can add new fields, which is not a table field. I can give the field type. Like I only want the display field because I will get the logic from the sessions or tables. I say display field. What will be the field name? So whenever we create a form field, we generally start it with F. F means it is a form field. Then I will give some relevant name, city dot description. And then what will be the domain? So let's go to city master to understand the domain. TCCom 139. I go to table definition. I open TCCom 139. And this is the description, DSCA, which is TCDSCA, the domain. So I give the domain as TCDSCA. Okay. And I don't want any label to it because I just want to display the value. So that's it. The position and all is fine. And I simply save it. Now, whenever you want to use a form field in the script, you have to define it as extern. So if I click this, I need to simply define the form field as extern here. So this is a declaration. All definitions you do here, like table declaration, any variable declaration. So I say extern. because it is coming, it is not a part of the script, right? It is coming from a part of form definition. So any variable or any field that you use, which is not a part of your script, should be defined as extern because it is coming from some other component. So what is generally the format of writing the declaring the table field? You write domain. What domain you want to use? TC, DSCA. And what is the field code? My field code I will understand from this, which is f.city description. So this is how you declare a variable. It is a variable of type extern, which has domain of TC/DSCA. Okay. So what I want to do now, I want to display city description based on the city given. So what will I do? I will write a field hook, field dot, or you can also write it on city changes. Okay. So txtrn 130. Let's write it on field hook 1 minute. Field dot. This is field description. Now there are various hooks again inside the field. So I will use before display hook. So whenever this field is displayed, before that, I want to fetch the value and show it here. So we say city description equal to. Now let's use a function here. Okay, I will write a function get city dot description. Okay, in city description, what are the important value that I need? So if we go to city master, to get the city, I need city country code, state if available, otherwise city. Okay. So these are the three important value that I need to pass into my function. So let's pass those available here. So txtrn 130 dot. We have country. First thing we will pass is country, which is this ccty. And another thing that I will pass is city, txtrn 130 dot ccty. Okay. City, city. Now these arguments I am passing. This is my function, and to this function I'm passing this argument. Now let's call this, declare this function. Now this is my function section. How are function declared? You write a word function, which is your main section, under which you will define the function. Function, domain, TCDSCA, and then get city description. Now let's break one by one what this means. Function is nothing but you are writing a function. Now why do we need this domain DSCA? This means this is a function which is getting referred here, which is returning the value description, correct? This function is returning the value of description. And hence we need to define the return type. That what is the return type? So we are defining description here. Now let's, whenever these values are sent in this function, we want to hold it. So let's create a placeholder for country. So what is the domain of country? TCCCTY. Then I dot country. Why do we write I? Is because we are inputting it. So I is nothing but input. Domain TCCITY, because this is for city, the second argument here. And we write here I dot city. Then you put double curly brackets, open and close, and in this you will write function. Now I want to get the city description from city master. So let's write a select query, a small select query, where I will select this table, and from this table I will get the description of the table city, where my country is this and my city is what I pass in input. All right. So I will go to table definition and I will write the details from here. So select what I'm selecting, TCCom 139, which is my cities, dot, I want description field. So I'm selecting description from which table, TCCom 139, where, this is where condition, what I'm matching, TCCom 139 dot CCTY, which is country, should be equal to the country which is coming in input. We give here a colon is because to bind whatever are the variables coming, the value should be shown here, not the variable code. So we bind it and simply TCCom 139 dot city. We are not mapping the province. So city equal to the city coming in input. And as set with one rows, meaning we are selecting one record, one such record, where this condition matches from table 139. Table 139 means table of city master. So we only read one such record. And we write select do and end select. Now before this, I know if this is too overwhelming for you, try to understand the way queries are written. So it is the format. If you see the orange words here, these are the format. So you're selecting certain table field from where you're selecting from that table where these condition matches. So these are the conditions. So these are the field selection. This is the origin from where you are selecting, and these are the conditions and how you want it. Do you want to select all the records or do you want to select only one record? That you can write here. And then select do end select means you are selecting it and you want to perform some action under it. So once this record is selected, what I want to do, I want to return. I want to return this description. Simple, right? So once this record is selected, I want to return the description back here and it will be assigned to this field. If this record is not selected, then I will simply return empty. Empty is defined by double quotes. This is a simple query that we have written. Any questions here? Like if you want me to explain again, I can do that. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, there is a problem here. We save it. Functions. Okay, so now if you see there are this highlighted, okay, these highlighted sections means what? There is problem in some fields, some of the fields. So let's see this one by one. And this can also be seen in problem area. Domain is not expected, function not expected, functions not expected. Okay, let's see one by one.
I know you should remove the wording of function and domain. Just
Sorry?
remove the wording domain. Line number
39.
39.
Is no, we will need this, right? We
Sorry?
need to return the domain, correct? We need to return the function value this.
Understood, but the domain is a keyword, right?
Yeah, but we need to define it. So if I remove
Okay.
this,
Up to I'm not familiar with the syntax.
okay.
function เบิ้ล
remove 30 line 38. Just remove it. I think. Just remove line 38. Okay, and save and compile again.
แป๊บนึง
No. So yeah, nice try. So I just went ahead with the way you said, but
the
that's
error
not
is
how
come
it is.
from 34. The error maybe come from 34. 34.
34.
Function with in function before the string not expect.
Exactly. So we need to write a keyword domain. So let's see one thing. Let's go here and try to understand the help context. That is where the help comes into picture. So when I go to programmer's guide,
We need to
so I'm into
declaration of the
4GL
function.
program. Exactly. So what is the declaration? Functions are declared in this way. So if you need, if you see, yeah, there is a functions and colon. So yeah, what I was missing here, I was missing a colon. Understood? And then function domain. Now you can use long directly because it is a data type. But I'm not using data type, correct? I'm using domain. So it should be written as what domain I'm
ตัวเป็น
using.
type
Yeah, now let's see. It is still compiling.
Can you remove the domain first? Oh no. Okay.
Okay, you want me to remove a domain?
No, this is it's a different error. No.
Yeah, it is a different
Same.
error. But again, try to logically understand. If I am using a data type which is long or string, then you can directly use it, or boolean. But if I'm using a domain which I created, then I need to write a keyword domain. Okay.
I think
Now,
the correct.
yeah, what is the problem here? Can anybody tell? Or just a guess? I will hide the problem. Yeah. Yeah, we have not declared this table. So whenever we use a table field, we need to declare it at the top. So table T, and the declaration will go as the table name which is prefixed by T. It should be prefixed by T. That means it is a table code. And you can write here what table it is. So it is a cities table. Okay. So simple logic I've written. I've created a form field of description, which is reading the description from city master and returning it here. Okay. Let's now actually see it in the screen, how it works. Any questions?
One question: What does it mean the keyword of the extern on section?
Yeah. So what it means, whenever I am using a field or a variable which is not part of this script. So now this field is a part of form definition.
So it's different from the table, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
it is different from the table, and hence you declare it here.
Okay.
ประกาศของ table
Yeah.
ฟิลมันมี contact กับ table เนี่ยเราต้องมี
Now let's go back in my address master. Sorry, not this one, the custom one. If I say start session here. So if you see, my city now has a description. So if I open this record, so my city will now have a description. Understood? So if I now create new and see,
okay, understood.
AD2 address 2, and let's say if this is office address, and I give country as similar Thailand and some city belonging to it. So let's find. So let's select this. I'm selecting it with empty province. Okay, we are not using province here. Okay, so let's select any of this. And this is my description, OELDE. This should appear as soon as I tab out. So if you see, OELDE has come. And let me save my email ID. Now, if you see this description is coming right beside this field, and why is this going beyond? This can also be done as a property field. If you go to session, form definition, if you click your main field, there will be a option that child field follows, like child field behind. So there is a child field behind this. So you can click this. So your parent will attach to your child. Let's try now. So these properties, of course, you can try whenever you have time, because there are lots of properties. So if you see now, this particular field has come attached to your city. So whenever you say there is a child behind, it will attach it. All right. Now let's see one important thing here. I have not made Thailand mandatory at table level. So one option is to make it mandatory at session level, and another option is to make it mandatory at DAL. So for now, we have completed with UI explanation. Like there are lots of other options which can be explored in this, and how to write it, I've explained. Let's go to DAL now. In DAL, also we have various hooks. Now these are also called as hook. Like before opening what you want to do, you can set here. Then before saving what you want to do, you can write here. After saving what you want to do, you can write here. All right. So let's
Okay.
see how to make a particular field mandatory here. So going back to our guide, going back to the guide in section DAL, we are using DAL 2. So I'll go to section DAL 2 and field hook. Okay. Field hooks. Yeah, this one. So here are several sections like field is applicable, never applicable, read only, derived, mandatory. So if you see, there is this option called field is mandatory. So even if your declaration at table, you did not do it mandatory, you can do it in field hook. Okay. So again, let's declare this. There is an option also how it is written here. So you need to define the function extern, because it is using out, it will be used outside of DAL, right? Anything that is not used within the component, you need to write extern. You declare the return value, that if the field is applicable, you return, field is mandatory, you return true, else return false. And the field code, this is your field code, and the keyword is mandatory. All right, let's implement this. So I'm writing field section here. Here, field hook. Okay, these sections are already available. So I give a comment that following is the code for field mandatory check for country. And let's write the code here. So what is the format? I write word function, then followed by extern. Why do we need extern? Because it will not be used here, but it will be used in the execution. So we write extern. Then the keyword Boolean. Now, if you see here, Boolean is a data type, so I can directly use. But if I were to use a domain called bool, tcbool, then I have to say that it use domain tcbool. Okay, this is a difference. So if you're using a data type, use directly. If you're using a domain, prefix it with word domain. So let's use the standard Boolean domain. Then what field I'm putting this check on? I'm putting this check on country. So txtrn 130 dot ccty dot word is mandatory, is dot mandatory. So mandatory check will be executed. Anything you write in a function should be in curly bracket. So I will say return true always, because my this field will be mandatory. But here you can put some conditions also. Like if suppose my form definition, if suppose I say if my address name is not empty, Then I have to put, or probably address type. Okay, let's consider this as address type. So if my address type is mailing office, then my country is mandatory. Or it is warehouse office. Let's say if it is a warehouse office, then my country is mandatory. So let's put a check here on this field. So what will I say? Let's go back to my dal. I will put a condition here. If my address type, okay, so what is the field of address type? txtrn130.type equal to, I want to say that it is warehouse office, okay? Then the field is mandatory, else the field is non-mandatory, written false in that case. So you cannot write it like this, warehouse office. It is an enum. So let's go back and understand how to write this. Going back to my form definition. So for address type, try to understand what is the domain. It is txtrnadd.type. So you can go to domain master. So domain master will be available under tools, under application development, under domains and domain. So what is our domain? tx trn dot add type. This is my domain. When you click this, there is an option in reference to go to enum set. Here you will understand what are the enum constant which we created yesterday. Residential office, office address, mailing address, warehouse address. So my condition is for warehouse. So I will copy this domain, go to my script, paste the domain here and add the value. So the value will be warehouse. This is how you will define a constant for domain. So this is your package, this is your domain name and the constant behind it. So if my address type is warehousing address, then country is mandatory. Return true, else return false. And I save it. Okay, let's try this again. What is the problem here? Why it gave me an error? Because whenever I want to use a table field, I need to declare it. It is not declared here. So let's declare the table field. Declaration will come under declaration section. The tables are declared as word table and then T as a prefix and then table code txtrn130. All right, now let's save it. Okay, my error is gone. Now let's try this on UI. Okay, I am now going and opening this existing record. Okay, here we already have city, country. So let's remove the country, save the record. Now what I will do, this is my office address and hence it allowed me the empty country. Now let's change this to warehousing. So do you see? It gives me a message. Then enter a value of country field. It will not allow me to save because this logic is triggered from dal. Now if I change the warehousing type to mailing address, the problem should not come because our condition is only to warehousing address. So now I save it. It allows me to save the record because for mailing address, my country is not mandatory. All right. Now yeah. Any questions here?
No, not now.
Okay. Now, if you have to check a validity, okay, now let's assume we want to check the validity of this field where how do I confirm if my email ID is correct? So my one way to confirm the email ID which is correct is finding if it has at the rate. Okay. So we have different functions in ln to scan the string. So if this is a string, you can scan the string and understand what it contains. So if I can find it here, it may take time. It is finding string scan for me if we have any such function. Okay, so if you see, it has found out these many options for me. Let's go to string scan. Now what it does, you enter your value of the string and you find out what format you want to find the string with. So let's see an example here. String scan. So this is the string that they are scanning and they are saving the value in this. Okay, S, L, and D. So S they are creating as a placeholder for finding whatever value they find and they save it in S. And they have created a string of length 80. This is my main string. And once they find that information will be available in this variable, S variable. And if suppose 456.70D that they are scanning, which will be available in D variable. So this is what string scan does. There is another option to also find the information present in a string, which is with finding its position. Okay, let's try that. So scanning the string will also work and finding the position will also work. So what I will do here, this is my source and I will try to find the position of at the rate. So I will find the string part as at the rate. If suppose it gives me a valid position, which is not equal to 0, that means my string has a position, has at the rate in it. So if you see the example here, this is my source, the source string that they pass. In our case, the source will be email ID. And in position, what they are trying to find out? They are trying to find out the position the, which starts from left. Like where is the word starting from left? It comes at position 1. So your index value will contain 1. So in my case, I don't have to bother if they are finding from right or from left. I just want to see if at the rate is available in my source. In that case, the index value should be greater than 0. Let's try to see this actually as a practical example. We can also use actually string scan, but this POS also we can use. So let's try and use POS. Now where to actually write the code? There are two places. We can also write it in UI script or we can also write it in DAL. So in DAL hook, okay, DAL field hook, we have is valid hook also, just like a mandatory hook. We have is valid hook also. Look, let me go back to the original view of my document. So in DAL field hook, if you see, we have so many options. So we can check it under validity. We are confirming the validity. Hence, we can check it under this hook. Field is valid. So let's implement this hook. Function extern boolean txtrn130 dot. I'm putting the validation on mail email ID, right? So let me confirm my email ID field name. It is mail, M-A-I-L. Going back to the source, mail dot is dot valid. Okay. Then again, everything that I write in a function will be in double curly brackets. Then what I do, I will first find the position. So I will save it in value index. Now again here, the standard that we follow for naming a variable, any variable that you use in a function should be local, like L dot index, because it indicates that it is a local variable. Any variable that you use throughout the script, which is declared as global, can be named as G. g dot variable name. That is a global variable name. So in L dot index, what am I doing? I'm finding the position. Position of what? Of this string. This value will contain the email ID, right? So position of this, and if it has value at the rate. Field is valid. One minute, I need to confirm one syntax of position. So going back to position, just confirming the syntax. Okay, I don't need to give this in double quotes. Okay. If L dot index is not equal to 0, then endif. My field is valid. So return true.
Could be Chan, why
Yeah.
we start the L? What does it
Okay.
mean
Yeah.
L?
So see, this is a function, correct? So what is the
Yes.
scope of function? The scope of function
Yeah.
is within this opening bracket and closing bracket.
Okay.
So now, if there is any variable that you use within a function, should be declared as L dot. You have to declare the variable as L dot.
Oh,
Local. It is local. Okay.
Okay.
Local to the function. The scope is local to the function.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's declare the variable domain. Now this position will contain long. So I can use domain tc long and L dot index and initializing it.
For the DL, we don't need to declare the variable first, right? We can use at the
No,
runtime.
no, whatever variable you use in a function, you have to declare.
Okay,
So
okay,
this,
understood.
yeah, so this L dot index is not a keyword. It is not readily available in ln. So we have to declare it. Okay. So simple. What is my logic? I'm finding if at the rate is available in my mail, and if the position at which it is available is not equal to 0, I consider this mail as valid. Otherwise, I'll return false. I save it. Why did it ask for credential? Is the server taken for downtime? Let me confirm. Because I cannot establish the connection between. Let's wait for a minute. It's refreshing. If you see the connection, I think is lost. Okay. My domain name is incorrect. So the builder here gives you the information at what line you have errors. Okay, so that's easy. Now there are no error, there are no red mark, and it goes back to black and tick. Now let's go back and understand this from the logic that we have implemented from the code. I will now for you to refresh the object, always close and open the session again. Okay. Only then the changes that you have made will be reflected. I start session. I open this. Now let me change the value of uh, my mail. If I say test infor.com, it doesn't have at the rate. So if you see, it has given me a message that change the value of the email field. All right. Now here, if you see, it doesn't give me any specific information like at the rate is missing. So you can also build your custom message here. So if I go back to my LN studio. So if it doesn't contain an at the rate, I can give a custom message here. Now how to set a custom message in Dal? There is a function dal.set.error.message. Okay. In this, you have to pass a message code just as we did in before program. And if any other uh, details are available. So let's create a new message, new component. I say I want to create a message, txtrn dot 1530.003 email address must contain $1 Okay, let's now try to create a placeholder, and tx does not exist in, okay, let me refresh my screen because my activity component explorer is not loaded. I will restart. I think there is some issue with component. It is not able to establish the connection with development server. Yeah, it is giving a problem for all the fields. Okay, let's see. If this still doesn't work, we'll create a new workspace and we can reload our activity there. I think they have performed some code freeze here, which we don't know. So it is not able to establish the connection between the development server. So in these cases, you don't have to worry. None of your code will be lost because it is locally also saved and it is getting refreshed on the server because we have build automatically configured. One thing that we can try is refresh the project server. So I go to project server perspective and let's see if there is any option here to refresh. I'll try to find my activity.
Kumichan, shall we have a break
Yes.
for 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure, sure. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you.
Yeah.
Bichan, if you ready, you can go.
Hi, sorry, I was speaking on mute. All right, so I think there is some issue with connectivity with current workspace. So let's create a new workspace and find this activity. Okay, my workspace is open. I will go to Windows, Preference, GCA. Cloud environment is already there. I'll just apply this. Check my authentication. Let's see if we can now connect to WGCL properly. Okay, so that is project server we've set here. Let's try to open the activity. So I'm selecting my project name. I share the connection with project server. This is a runtime connection. Okay. Now I can find my activities here. So it is WGCL B2 and finish. Okay. Now the connection is successfully established. There could be the problem with some local workspace and development server. So we don't any such things happen. And if we are not able to resolve, we can simply create a new workspace and link our activity there. So we can always get our components. There are no component losses that will happen. So let's go to table definition. We were trying to add the validation for email ID where it can have @ Okay. So I'm creating a new, let's see if the new message has been created. I created a new message 3. I don't see here. Let's create a new one. And I will give this as a critical message. Okay, this is a message that's created. Let's use it in our dal. So dal set error message has a format where we need to set the first argument as message code. So txtrn 130 dot sorry, 1530.003, after which I will give the value of the placeholder. So my placeholder is %1 and in this case the value is at the rate. Correct? I need to show that at the rate should not be, at the rate is a value replacing the placeholder. And as a general practice, we generally write this message as a comment after it is used. So I will copy this, go back to my code, and just for anybody else to understand what this message actually is, we write it as a comment so that they don't have to go into message master to find out. Okay, so uh, we know now that it should contain at the rate, and I have replaced this placeholder %1 with at the rate. Let's try to understand this on screen. Going back to my LN screen. First of all, I will connect to my activity. Okay, so it's already there. I don't have to worry. Let's open our address session. And let's remove the information. So it's bjel.infor.com. We don't have at the rate. Change the value. 1 minute. This error message should also have come actually.
Please go back to your web UI screens.
Yeah. LNUI, yeah.
Please remove the at sign. Okay, and
Yeah. There is a restriction, but we should also have the error message which we have created. It should come here right after this. Let me see why it is not coming.
why doesn't come?
Just give me a minute. Oh,
Or you return true. No?
yeah, sorry. Oh, sorry. The message, if suppose this is equal to 0, then I will write the message and return false. It's return true. Yeah. Okay. So now I have changed my condition that if my index, there is no value returned in my index, then you set the message and you return false. Okay. Let's see now. I'm removing at the rate here. Yeah. So if you see, we created a critical type of message. So it has highlighted with red. And here, if you see, you want to understand the origin. So you understand it is coming from TX screen, TXTRN. And the message that you have created is here. Email address must contain at the rate. So $1 is replaced by at the rate. So similarly, you can put validations, whereas you can also check that your email ID should contain a dot. I mean, it could be .com, .in, anything. So these are the conditions, and you can play around these fields at both form UI script as well as your DAL script. Let's go back to next topic in our PPT, which is the demo of 1 minute. My cursor is not loading. Yeah, okay. So the next topic is how to debug. Okay, if we have a problem, and if you know that your the code structure is not getting followed as expected, then how to debug it and how to test it. So generally we follow the debugging at LNUI level only. We don't debug in LN Studio because debugging through LNUI is much easier, because you may have several components. You may have some components belonging to newly created which are belonging to LN Studio. you have some components which you have modified and which are available on LNUI. So in order to get all the components in an activity, it's always better to use same activity for the same task, same requirement, even in LNUI and LN Studio. And second important thing is it's better to debug on LNUI. I will show that to you. So first step here is to take your activity context, like whatever activity you're developing, take it in your activity context. You can do that by opening debug and profile session, set your application and your activity name. Okay. Now how to debug that we will see. So this is for extension, like how you want to start debugging extension. But in case if we don't have extension right now, we only have LN Studio components. So how to debug LN Studio components that we will see. This will be your debug view. So this is a code that you see and you can debug step by step. Let's go back to debug workbench. So I'm connecting to LN UI. Now debug information, I can get it when I am in my debug and profile. So I can go to options. I can go to debug and profile. I can be in the activity I want to debug. Click the debug mode. So for so long, when we were changing the activity, we were not clicking this debug mode. So now click the debug mode and say OK. So here your debug workbench would start. Yeah, it is a debug workbench. So let's try to understand some of the part here. One important part is you can see the functions getting executed. So this is your call track. It will understand what part is getting executed. This will be your source, what you want to debug. And these are different options for you. So all the variables, you can see the value here one after the other. We also have a breakpoint feature, meaning, so let's first load a source. So here in this tab, you get the option of search. In this, you will find your component. So let's find our component txtrn. So you can debug only program scripts, DLL and DAL. I mean, where you have scripting written, only those things you can debug, of course. Let's find our UI script. So it will be the same name as session code. So 1530 M000. And once you tab out, it gives you the option that what all components of this name are available with you. So if I select my component that I want, and if I say OK, it will load the source code for me. So this exactly is the source code which we have written here in this session. So I go back to session. So I go to source and this is the source that we have. OK. So this is the same source that's getting loaded here. Now, if we want dal also to debug, then we say find and we find dal. So dal will have the name as same as table name. So we click this and it opens the dal source code like this. So multiple components, if you have in your functionality, you can keep on finding them and that source will be loaded. Okay, so I here if you see, I see dal code. Okay, now let's see what are these options here. Now any variable that you have in your source code, this is a variable. Then we have uh, in here we have declared one more variable. So this variable will be appearing here. And when we want to execute a particular point, now let's assume that I want to execute only this. I want to see what happens here. So I can put a breakpoint. So when you double click this, there is a breakpoint. So your code will automatically come here. When this particular row is getting executed, your screen will, the debugger screen will open automatically. And you can toggle toggle meaning if you have set the debug point and if you want to remove it, you can again double click that. So the debug point is removed. So all the debug point that you set in a code can be seen under breakpoint. So if you see under line 27 in this source, you have kept a breakpoint, and under line 34 in this code, you've kept a breakpoint. Okay. And expressions, meaning if you want to see a value of particular field that you can write here. So for example, if I want to see the value of this field during execution, I can write it here. Now let's actually start debugging. So what I will do, I will put a control in my before program. Then I will put a control here on before field and before display. Okay. Now let's try to open the session. So I have opened my debugger. I have put the debug point, and now let's open the session. So I start session. So if you see, as soon as I start session, automatically the debug point gets hit because this is the first section that's called. Now here there are different options for you to debug. This means it is step, meaning you go to next line. Whatever is getting executed next will be executed here. So my session gets opened up. Now, before the session gets opened up, I have put another debug point on before display. So this section is getting executed. Now, if I don't want to go inside this, okay, so there is this get city description. If I don't want to go inside the function, so if I go in the function, it will go one by one and it will show it to me. So it went under select do, and you can read this value from here, what value it has. This can also be done in expression tcom139.dsca. So if you see, you can see this value also in expression. Now, if you want to see what are the values of l.country and i.city, that will be available under variables also. Of course, you can hover these fields and understand. When you try to debug and if you see that city description is not coming properly, and if you try to debug, you can also hover these fields and understand. But apart from that, these details are available here as well. My breakpoint information is available here as well. Now let's assume you found out the problem. Okay, while debugging, you understood what is the problem, why you do not have a certain execution or certain result that you expect. So once you understand, you can go in your code and modify it. You cannot modify in debugger. There is no option to modify any code. So once you modify, you can refresh the source. So if you see, once you modify any logic, now for example, if I go back to my source code, and if suppose I create one variable, okay? So this is suppose just a variable I'm creating, just to explain you that how source code is loaded. So I save it. Now once I go back here and once I reload, I get this value. So any changes that I make, I can reload and I can again get that, come here and I can see the value. Another options that you see when you right click is condition watch point, modification watch point. Toggle breakpoint is nothing but if the breakpoint is set to yes, you set it back to no, and disable breakpoint. What is condition watch point and modification watch point? If suppose I am debugging a scenario where my price is or my price is not getting correctly displayed for order 1, let's assume, and there are 10 orders in my range, and if price is not getting displayed for a certain order, so when I want to debug that particular order, I can put a condition watch point and say that whenever I can select, first of all, I will have to select that order number field, and I can put a condition watch point. Now, for example, if this is order number field, then I can put a condition watch point where I will say that if the order value is order 1, then only the debugger will come and stop automatically when order is equal to 1. So if you are debugging 10 records and if you want to find the error only in one particular record, you can put it under condition watch point. Now, what is modification watch point? Every time a value changes in that particular variable, the modification watch point will be triggered, meaning it is watching the variable. So anytime it changes, it will come and stop in your debugger. This you will understand with time, but I just wanted to show you we have these many options available for debugging. Now, one important thing, if suppose I say continue here. So this is used to say continue, meaning go ahead and it will stop to the next breakpoint. This is used to terminate, meaning if you if you don't want to go ahead, you can just click this terminate. So terminating will also terminate the execution that is happening at backend. Okay. Now, if suppose I don't want to go into this function, right now my arrow is here and I don't want to go here, I can simply step over. Step over is not going to execute that function. It will not go inside it. So step over is generally used for functions. So if I click step over, it did not go inside this. Okay. And my session is opened. Any question in debugging? We will also have a chance to see debugger in more detail when we uh, are doing extensions,
Okay.
extension programming.
คุณบิจัน could you go to the screen of the session, the list of the session?
Yeah.
Go back one more.
Okay.
Okay. So when we do a debug, which record is the debugging is trying to do?
So it will debug your activity. So see, now here, if you see, I'm
Yeah.
I'm debugging this, my 1530 M000 I'm debugging.
Different VRC.
Yeah, so it will debug your VRC, which is your activity VRC, if you are connected to that activity. So in my case, when we go to debug and profile, here I'm connected to that particular activity. Here I'm connected to that activity.
Yeah.
And that activity has this component checked out. So it will use this version 0016.
Oh, not use EXT, right? Just use the last
Yeah.
method one before EXT.
For
Okay.
ext, if you are not connected to the activity, by default ext will be executed. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is
so
it about.
So that means we cannot debug for the EXT, right?
We can debug for ext if see you are connected to your own activity, you cannot debug in ext, but you can debug in ext if you check in the component and if you end the activity. That is one option. Another option is if you remove your activity from here. So now let me give you an example. So I will close this session. I will also close this. Not sure why there is no option to close this. Let me quickly restart. Okay. Now let's assume I make a change here where I initialize or let's assume all of this coding any which way we have done it in checkout mode, right? So let's go back and I'm not checking in right now. And if suppose I debug in extvRC, so let me go back to my debug and profile. And I will unlink my activity. If I'm unlinking my activity, that means it will debug for the component which is available in extvRC. So if I say debug here,
Oh, I see.
So if you see, there is no code. The code is available. The code is still available in ext vrc. Sorry, the code is still available in my activity vrc. Do you agree to that?
Code is in the.
Code is checked out and it is available in activity vrc. Is it correct?
So that means we can debug before the ext. If after the
Yes.
ext, we cannot debug at the like 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 you said by the user, right?
No, right now, if you see, my changes are available in activity vrc. All right. If we want to debug in ext, we can do it. But we will see the code which is available in ext. Now, if I check in this, let me check in.
I'm trying to
Hmm.
find a way if on the production server most of component is ext. If
You can,
some
yes. So the answer to that is yes. You can debug from ext vrc. The answer is yes.
but we cannot see the code. How can
You
we
can see
debug?
the code. You can see the code. Right now, my code is not checked in. So let me do one thing. Let me check in this. Okay, so I will check in all the component and I will make it in ext level for you. I'm just checking in everything. All right, these are my affected component and I will say end activity.
Label.
Now just observe the
Okay, just
code, the changes that you make will be now available in ext level. Okay. So the changes, if they are in ext level, you can debug from ext.
inactive fail.
I think the debugger is on, that's why. So just be careful if your debugger is on, the activity closing can lead to a problem. I will just refresh this. Okay, now it has gone successful because I have closed my debugger. Now if you see, Kunsakol,
Yeah.
my the level at my code is available is ext. It is not my activity vrc, correct?
Okay.
Because I have ended my activity. Now let's try to debug. So I open my debug and profile. I will remove this activity also, or you can keep it. It doesn't matter. I say debug mode and I say okay. And I will find the component tx trn 1530. So yes, you can debug.
Oh, the cost still
Okay.
show. Okay.
So the code, only the code was not refreshed because the code was available in my activity VRC. And hence the code was not getting refreshed in ext level. But now I checked in and I ended the activity. That is how code is available in ext VRC and you can debug. So to answer your question, in production
Yes.
environment, if you send the source code in PMC, which we definitely do, we send the source code. So you can debug on production environment. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay. This was regarding debugging. Debugging we will also see in detail in the slides when we in the sessions when we learn extension, which will be next week. Now, one important so the demo of debug also we have seen. Another important and the only topic remaining is creating the PMC through LN Studio. Let's try to do that one. And we can then go ahead and start with actual hands-on exercise that I have prepared for you. So tomorrow's day will be dedicatedly hands-on for you. I mean, I have some exercise ready, which we can do together if you want, or uh, I mean, together in the sense you see what I'm doing and you do along with me, or we do independently. Like you do not see what I'm doing, but you can still do what I'm asking and present it. Okay.
Okay.
So tomorrow will be the hands-on. So the top, yeah, you were saying something?
No. Just go ahead.
Okay. The only topic now with respect to LN Studio is creating the PMC. So PMC means what? If you have a particular functionality, now let's assume if I had a requirement to create address master, like we created. Now let's say my address master functionality is complete. Okay. And I can deliver it. It is tested also internally. And now I have to deliver it to TRN environment. So what we do, we cannot send one component at a time. Like these are components, correct? So how do we bundle the components so that none of the functionality is left behind? Like all of these components are related to each other, like my table session, script, then questions, messages, etc. Questions we have not used, but I will show that to you. Messages and etc. We this is a part of single functionality, correct? So we have to make sure that all of this is getting delivered in single go, in single process. So how do we do that? That is in a form of PMC. We create a product maintenance control. So we create a PMC. Now PMC also has a stages. Let me explain it to you first in Notepad. So PMC also has stages. One is in progress, meaning you're creating the PMC, like you're linking the components to it. Second is dependency defined. This is used because let's assume if I have another requirement to add two more fields in address. Okay. What if I deliver my first PMC and my second PMC is adding two more lines or two more fields in my address master? So my first solution where my address table was created, that is a dependency to the new solution. So that is where dependencies are defined. Third is we validate and export. And fourth is we release. So when the PMC is in this in progress status, in here we add components. We add components into PMC. In dependency defined, you will just create the dependency. The system automatically does that. And once you export it, that means the PMC is validated, all the components are added, and now it can be released. That means validate and export. And released means you cannot make any changes in the PMC. So these are the stages. So now how to actually create a PMC? What are the options? So there are two options to create PMC. One is from LNUI. So what you can do, you can go to LNUI, go to tools, go to application development. There is this PMC. Go to distribution. PMC means what? You're distributing the component to some other server. So you go to distribution, operation, and then solutions. Click on this session. So in here, you will add the solutions. So let's create first solution in LN Studio, LN UI. So I say solution 001. Address solution, some relevant name. So like I told you, the first step or the first status will be in progress. Here you can add the components, okay? Component of type label, table, domain, everything. So we have created a domain. So you can add domain here. this is the code that I remember of component we created, but otherwise you can zoom and find out. You can save and close. So that is how one component is added. Meaning what it is doing, all the affected components are getting packaged here in the solution for delivery. So now I click one more. We will add integrated session. The session we had, address master, which is tx trn 1530 m000. This was my session code. So I will add this here. Then again, one more important was dal and table. So I add table definition. Tx trn 130 was my table. And I add a source. Dal. Dal is nothing but my source. So tx trn 130 is source. I add it. You can simply save and again say new from here also. That is also a possibility. I need to add one more source, which was my UI script. So tx trn 1530 m000. So here I have added some of the components which were affected. What you can do next is, it is in progress status, meaning you can still add component. How to do the yeah.
One question before you go to next step. Do we need to create the solution code in PMC first, or and then add the component that we add new or modify later, or should the LN Studio generate the solution code first? So
You
my
will
concern
have
is
to,
that yeah.
no, so one thing here, this is, see, there are two ways to create the PMC. 1 minute. So one is via LNUI and second is via LN Studio.
Okay.
The example that I'm showing you to you right now is this, the first one.
Yeah, yes. My question is, do we need to create the PMC or solution first, then we do create a new component or modify the component later, or we should modify or add new component first and then create the PMC afterwards?
First you modify, you change the component, you have a list of component and then you create a PMC.
Okay,
PMC is the
so
last step. It is the last step.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So here there are statuses in LNUI. So you select a record, you go to reference, actions, and you say generate dependency. So it will generate the dependency. Simply the status will change back to dependency defined. And then you validate the solution and you export. These are the steps. So if I say export, if I directly say export, it will anyway first validate. So validate and export will happen hand by hand, hand in hand. So if you see my status is exported. Now status exported meaning I cannot make any change in the PMC. If you see, I cannot make any changes here. The new is disabled for me. But if you still want to add any component which you missed, which you thought that it was a part of the PMC and you forgot. So even after exporting and before releasing, you can do that. So you can click this and change the status to in progress again. But just be careful here because release is also an option. Once you release the PMC, you cannot go back to in progress. So I don't want to release it. So I will simply say in progress and save it. Once I take the PMC in progress, I can add new components. All right. So this is how is the life cycle of a PMC on LNUI. The same can be done in LN Studio. Let's see. So I will delete these components here from here. I don't want to add them in this PMC. Let's create a PMC on LN Studio. Okay. I'm going back to LN Studio. Yeah. Now for you to have components in the PMC or want to create a PMC on LN Studio, the flag integrate with PMC should be yes on project server. Okay. So where can we find that setting? We go to our project server.
Okay.
So under Windows, perspective, open perspective and project server. Okay, so this has opened the project server perspective for me. When I right click my project server, which is active, I can see properties. And here integrate with PMC should be yes. Okay. When I say integrate with PMC and say okay, now I go back to my application server. I need to create a activity with type delivery. So let's create a new activity. I'm just giving a name. Now here in type, previously, if you remember, we were only able to see these options, only first 5 options. But now that we have added PMC, delivery is also one more option. So I want to create an activity of type delivery. Okay, the activity name already exists. So I will change this to 2. Finish and open. Okay. So now you see it has opened a delivery explorer for me. Okay. So what you do, you can add your activities under this. So I will right click and say add development activity. I can drop down and select the one which I was developing, which is ID WGCL B2 and finish. So if you see, it has added an activity for me.
Sorry, I lost some focus. Why the activity is going to the delivery explorer?
Sorry,
Why the activity is going to the delivery explorer?
delivery
Why
type. Delivery type is what you're saying.
the delivery type?
See, we are creating a PMC, correct? We
Yes.
are going to create a PMC and hence PMC is a type of delivery. We are
Oh, okay.
delivering, yeah, and hence it comes under Delivery Explorer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to see, there has to be an option here. 1 minute. Let me go back to my application. Let us make some changes here actually. It should okay, so we ended the activity before creating the PMC. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just make some small change here. Okay, I will remove this line, what I declared. So delivery activity should be automatically triggered when you end the activity. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see, as soon as I end the activity, it gives me this option. Like, do you want to deliver this activity and create a solution? So I say yes. Then it should open the Delivery Explorer for me. Yeah, if you see, it will open the Delivery Explorer for me. And I will say finish. Okay, so this is my solution code. And in here, why is this not giving me an option? Okay, here I can say generate dependency. So yeah, this is my solution code. And here there is only one component which I changed, correct? Recently. Ideally, all the components, when you end the activity at once, all the components will be included. But in my case, we ended the activity first, right? And then I came again and I simply modified one record. So only one component has come. Nevertheless, you can also add components from here, one after the other. So once you right click, the same option will appear that we had on LNUI. You generate the dependency. So dependency will be generated. The status goes as dependency generated. And let's find this activity or this PMC on LNUI. There also you will be able to see. I will refresh this. So if you see ID WGCL B2006 is created. This is created through LN Studio. Now it will have only one component. This one. All right. So this PMC I did not manually create on LNUI, but it got created from LN Studio. So right now it is in dependency defined. If I want to add more components to it, I can simply take it in progress and add components. After dependency defined, the next step is to export. Okay, so if I say export, meaning I cannot add any component, it will not allow me to add. Let's go and refresh here. So it's exported. If I wish to add any component, I can simply set this back to in progress and add the components. The last step would be to release. Once I release the solution, the activity will be finalized automatically. But as we cannot revert back from release, I'm not doing it because we don't want to deliver this PMC anywhere. So let's not click this option for our testing purpose. For us, let us only focus till export. All right. So this was about creating the PMC from LN Studio, also from LNUI. PMC is nothing but it will club all the components which you want to send and deliver to some other environment, TST, TRN, SIT, any other environment. It can be done by two ways. You can directly create LN UI solution and add components there, or you can create a PMC. If integrate with PMC is set to yes at your project server level, if that is set to yes, automatically after you end the activity, you will be there will be a question popped up that if you wish to create a PMC or delivery, once you say yes, a delivery explorer will be opened. You can see your component linked to your PMC, and there are different stages. In progress status, you can add more component to the PMC. You can then define the dependency and you can export. As I was telling, export and validation will go hand in hand, and hence here we don't have validate option. Here we only have export option, which internally will also validate and then release the solution. Even if you have exported the PMC and you want to add more components, you can set it back to in progress and add the components. But once you release the solution, there is no way to set the solution back to in progress. So be very cautious while using release. Of course, it can be done through some corrections in backend, but we don't want to do that. So let's not release our activities for testing and training purpose. I hope PMC creation is clear. So this, yeah, tell me.
One question is, which status of the PMC that choose to bring for the testing, the release status or export status?
So you want to take it ahead in test environment, some other environment?
I need to ensure that, for example, if for the TST environment is for the development, how do I know the developer complete their
Yeah,
unit testing
you
and
can
this
consider, yeah, export status.
export status?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, even
What
if you are in the same environment, like if you are developing on the same environment, it is not necessary to create a solution. The
understood?
solution is only created when you push it, when you want to push it to some other environment. Okay. So, but you
I
can
try.
consider export status. Yeah.
Yes, I try to understand the consideration to approve the PMC before moving to an upper environment. What the status should be considered
Released. Released.
release. So
Yeah.
that
Once
means
you
the
release,
already
yeah.
test complete, right?
Sorry.
So in general practice, the release status of PMC is meaning complete testing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
here is some explanation again about the PMC which I just did. Let's quickly go through it. So PMC creation from LN Studio is very similar to that of creation from Bex. Bex was an older system which we don't use anymore. Integrate with PMC must be enabled in project properties, which we just saw. PMC can be created in two ways. Generate and deliver a solution in one go. This is the fastest way. Manually create and deliver the solution like we did in LN we manually created the PMC and we added components. But in LN Studio, whatever components are linked to your activity for which you create the PMC, that is easier and fastest.
Can you
Manual creation and yeah.
Can
Hello.
you demonstrate to the release status and import to the upper environment? Can you try the demo? Or we have the separate?
So see, yeah, I think pushing the solution from, see, release I can do, release is not a problem, but installing it in an upper environment is generally done by admin. Now, why I'm saying this? Because our solution contains tables, domains, which will require CRDD in upper environment. So installing the PMC on any environment is generally done by admin team. So if you
Oh,
have a demo with admin, you can check with them.
okay. Can you ask the instruction that I also asked yesterday?
Okay, sure.
Oh,
I will check internally. Yeah, sure. So this is just the explanation about what PMC creation we saw. So you can probably read this for your reference. I will not be going through every point right now. This is for your help only, like how to do that, what wizard will be opened up. As I have already presented the demo, I think the demo will be more helpful than reading these pointers to you. Then here we have given the status explanation that, dependency define, export solution, release and finalize. Now here also there is one more guide that they are suggesting to refer on docsinfor.com. This is an application development guide which helps you for PMC creation topic further in detail. So this was it for today. And from tomorrow, so I mean, this marks the complete training on LN Studio. Like we have seen what LN Studio is, what is an architecture, why do we need it, component building into LN Studio, different navigation points at LN Studio, how to debug if a component is created on LN Studio, how activities are shared between resource, and how to create a PMC also through LN Studio. Now tomorrow is an important day for you all. I have an exercise ready, which I will share in the morning as soon as we log in around 6, I mean your time 8 o'clock. And entire 4 hours you will be doing hands-on, complete hands-on on LN Studio. So tomorrow's day is reserved for hands-on. If you have any questions, then I'm open for that. Otherwise, we are
okay.
done for today. Yeah.
Could we have 5 minutes? I would like to try on the debugging. Can you? I will show my screen and please advise me.
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Okay. I will reproduce the step. I would like to
Sure, sure.
Just a minute. Try again. Okay, I'm trying to debug. No, just read
This is
it.
my
Yeah.
activity.
Yes.
Acha, okay. All right. All right.
And I would like to debug this session, right? Click
Okay.
OK. So I'm toggle the breakpoint here.
Okay. Okay.
Before display or when the TK code change, right? I have two breakpoint, mark two breakpoint here. Then I go to the session. Go to the session. Let me refresh. Okay, I'm going to debug this session.
Yeah.
Right, and start session.
Yeah.
Okay, and create new underscore and try to
No, 1
type some.
minute. Your debug should have been triggered.
Yes, that I'm asking why.
No,
Why that
so
not
1 minute. Let me see what is the problem. You are in the same environment TST. Okay, company doesn't matter. Okay, fine. Can you go to your session, the session screen that you see?
This one?
Yeah, can you close the first 3 option and open again?
Okay, no change. No change.
And this also, close it.
Debugger also.
No, debugger, keep it open. Keep the
Okay.
debugger open. Yeah, now can you open again? Sometimes what it happens is it fails to refreshes the code for you.
Oh,
Yeah, can
really?
you go?
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Let's try now. Application development.
Session. Where is the session?
I can see.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing on this session, right?
Yeah.
Then start the sessions and click new.
No, again, yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes, again, Kunsakal, sometimes it happens that
Open new.
the system fails to reload the source. So you can maybe try it this way, close and open again.
Okay,
Okay?
understood. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
understood.
So just one thing, we so this is just for Kunsakal. I think we were supposed to talk to Kun Sachin, right? For
Instruction?
yeah, the agenda that is clashing with 22nd, which is a
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
So let me check with him if he's available right now, or we can then connect with him tomorrow also.
Yes, but I told him yesterday that I request him to reschedule on the third week that we have the on site. It should have the same week, so the next
Yeah.
week should have the reschedule also.
So I was thinking, can you
Let me
just open
see.
agenda once?
Yes. Okay. The agenda. Okay, let me share screen.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I moved
Yeah.
the LM admin for tomorrow afternoon for 2 hours and
So this is admin, right?
yes,
Okay.
admin and for
So,
on 10
yeah.
February for 4. So we have this 4 slot available for next week. No, just 2.
Yeah. So one correction here, Kunsakal. The DOM, the document output management that you see, which is planned for 10th and 11th,
Yes, correct.
that I will be taking on the last day of on-site training, which will be 21st. Because
21st.
DOM is a topic which we like to cover after report. So there is some change here. What we can do, we can push the topic of extensibility
Can you
on.
take the control and
Okay.
reschedule
So
him?
let's do one thing. Let's have Kun Sachin also. So I see he is available. He's busy on another call, but I
Okay.
will request him to be available tomorrow. So tomorrow after our training, just
Okay.
for 5 minutes, let's connect. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
ของมีใครตามทันไม่ทันหรืออยากให้ช่วยอยากถามตรงไหนไหมครับ ก็ตรงนี้รู้สึกว่าติดหลุดน่าจะเทคนิคหลายจุด แล้วก็บางคนน่าจะติดหลุดไปแล้ว
อยากให้พี่ตัวสรุปตั้งแต่วันแรกนะครับ
วันแรกเลยเหรอ
จบรอจบ
รอเล่น
เป็นใหญ่แต่เข้าใจว่าพานนี้อาจจะ
ถ้าสรุปวันแรกเหรอไม่ยาก
ไม่ใช่
แช
ไม่
ร์
ใช่
ใช้แล้วดู
ตั้ง
เทร
แต่
นนิ่ง
นั่นแหละคุณตัวเดี๋ยวนี้พอแบบตามไม่ทันเนี่ยพอเราแบบไปเว็บ
อ๋อ
ประชุมไปอะไรกลับมาอะไรมันตามไม่ทัน แล้วก็สุดท้ายก็ต้องมานั่งดูวิดีโอแหละแต่พอแต่พอดูเขาทำมันก็พอได้อยู่
ได้แต่ว่าเดี๋ยวก็วันแรกจริงๆไม่ค่อยมีอะไรหรอกต้องดูที่วัน2วัน3
ไม่ผมดูมาถึงวันสองวันสามแล้ว
มันเป็นตัวใช่ไหมมันเป็นพาร์ทแบบ technical development จากของคุณใหญ่น่าจะไปเกี่ยวจริงตอน report designer ซะมากกว่า
ใช่แต่ว่าบางพาร์ทมันก็จะรีเลทนิดนึงอะไรเงี้ย
มันเกี่ยวอยู่นะเหมือนพวก component เหมือนพวกอะไรต่างๆนานา
เข้า
อะ
ใจ
ไร
คอน
เงี้ย
เซ็ปต์มันเราเข้าใจคอนเซ็ปต์
ไม่
มัน
แล้วความยากก็คือว่าเขาไม่ได้มีเป็นด็อกิเมนต์แบบแมนนวลให้ด้วยนะนึกออกไหมแบบเป็นอารมณ์แบบ
เขามีนะ
คือผมอะ
แต่เขาไม่มีตามหลังจริงเนี่ยเดี๋ยวเปิดให้ดู
แต่เขาดูแบบเป็น reference หน่อย
แป๊บนึงนะ
คือผมอะต้องมานั่งทำแมนนวลของตัวเองไว้พี่แล้วแบบมาก๊อปแบบแมนนวลโง่ๆอะจริงเหรอ
ต้อง
เดี๋ยวผมเปิดแมนนวลผมให้ดู พี่จะตลกมากเลย
เดี๋ยวแชร์สกินให้เนี่ยถ้าเราเข้าไปดูนะตรงเนี้ยตรงในแชร์พอยต์ของเราอ่ะเขาก็จะมีผมก็จะอัพโหลดพี่ก็จะอัพโหลดไอตัว PowerPoint เขาแชร์ให้แต่เรา
อันนี้มันเป็น PowerPoint ไงแบบ
แต่ว่าอยากได้แมนนวลที่ตัวเอง
เดี๋ยวผมดูแบบผมทำเวอร์ชั่นเด็กน้อย
ไหนต้องแชร์
ให้พี่ดูโคตรแบบแม่งแบบโคตรตลกอ่ะเนี่ยเหมือนผมมาทำเป็นแบบ connection ls เนี่ยต่อเซิร์ฟเวอร์บ้าบออะไรบ้างอะไรกันต่อยังไงใส่อะไรให้ผมมาแล้วทำ
แบบ
แบบ
เป็นนวดความหมายคุณใหญ่นะเป็นนวดเลย
ผมอยากได้เป็นแบบเป็นนวดประมาณนี้ที่แบบไม่ต้องไปเปิดเพราะใน PowerPoint ยิ่งวันที่3ยิ่งวันที่2ไม่ค่อยมีอะไรเลยพี่เพราะส่วนใหญ่มันต้องมาดูเขาคอนฟิกตามนี้ไงทีเนี้ยผมแบบมานั่งทำตามนี้ว่า component creation ยังไงอะไรเงี้ยอยากได้แบบแมนนวลจากเขาหน่อยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยพี่แบบ creation ยังไง component edit ยังไงอะไรอย่างเงี้ยอันนี้ผมก็นั่ง
งั้นให้พี่ walk through slide ให้ไหมพี่ว่า walk through slide ได้ไวเอาไหมอยากได้ไหมนะอยากได้ไหมล่ะ
ไม่แต่ผมอยากได้ว่าเสร็จแล้วผมทำเป็นไงถ้าเกิดอ่านสไลด์แล้วมันก็ไม่ได้แฮนด์ออนเลยเดี๋ยวไม่ถ้างั้นนะพี่ตัวเดี๋ยวผมไปนั่งทำตามคลิปแหละเหมือนเดิมดีกว่าเสาร์อาทิตย์ก็น่าจะตามทัน
ได้จริงมันมีเทคนิคนะแต่ว่าเดี๋ยวอันนั้นค่อยว่ากันแต่มันไม่มีมันต้อง instruction อ่ะมันต้องเป็น quick คุณอยากได้ quick ใช่ไหม quick instruction
อย่างน้อยก็เป็น instruction หน่อยว่าไอ้ฟีลแบบสมมติว่าเรา connection ใช่ไหมอะไรอย่างเงี้ย1 2 3 4 5ทำอะไร parameter ไหนใส่อะไรอย่างเงี้ย
เข้าใจเขาไม่มีให้เขาก็รันไปเรื่อย
ๆใช่เพราะว่าผมมาตามหลังอย่างเงี้ยใช่ป่ะผมก็จะแบบไม่มี instruction อ่ะผมไปถามปิ่นเนี่ยปิ่นก็แบบคือปิ่นเนี่ยทำได้แต่ว่าเขาก็ต้องสนใจฟังอะไรเงี้ยผมก็จะแบบไปกวนเขาไม่ได้ผมก็ต้องมานั่งตามฟังถ้าเกิดมี instruction อ่ะผมก็ follow ได้เลยอะไรเงี้ย
แต่ส่วนใหญ่ก็จะเป็นปัญหาของวันที่ไม่ได้เข้าใช่ไหมแต่ถ้าวันที่เข้าก็ตามทันอยู่เนาะ
ทัน
โอเคน่าจะอยู่แค่วันที่ไม่ได้เข้า
สำหรับผมนะแต่ต้องคอยมาตามทีหลังเนี่ยอย่างเช่นคุณชัดพลออโตโฮแอบแซวเลย
แต่คนเขาไม่น่าเก็ตเขาเป็น BA จริงๆแต่คุณใหญ่ยังมีเทคนิคอยู่ไง
ใช่ผมชอบโคดดิ้งเล่นพี่
แล้วแบ็คกราวด์เป็นโคดดิ้งถ้าแบ็คกราวด์โคดดิ้งตามทันอยู่แล้วล่ะ
ไม่แล้วไอ้ตัวนี้เบสเป็น Java ด้วยไงพี่มันเลยไม่ได้ยากอะไรเงี้ย
ใช่ตั้งแต่พูด ORM นี่ก็รู้แล้วว่าเทคนิคแบ็คกราวด์เป็นเทคนิคมาเนี่ยพูดถึง ORM มันก่อน
ใช่ครับตอน B Shell
งั้นถ้าตามทันก็หายห่วงว่านี่เขาคงไม่ทันหรอกเขาคงแค่คอนเซ็ปต์อะไรเงี้ย
ไปดีไซน์ไอตัวนั้นนะพี่ไปดีไซน์ตัวรีพอร์เตอร์มากกว่า
ใช่
แล้วเมื่อกี้ตอนแรกผมก็คุยกับคุณภูมิแล้วแหละแต่คุณภูมิก็บอกว่าไม่ได้ยากขนาดนี้เพราะว่าผมนั่งข้างพี่เอสใช่ป่ะแล้วพี่เอสก็บอกโหใหญ่นี่ฉันต้องเรียนยากขนาดนี้ ฉันจะเรียนได้ไหมวะอะไรแกก็กังวลไปก่อนไงผมบอกเดี๋ยวรอดูก่อนมันไม่ได้ยากขนาดนี้หรอกโหอันนี้โคตรเทคนิคเลยพี่อะไรเงี้ย
ใช่แต่ผมดูคอนเอาไลน์ของไอ้ฝั่งที่ยูเซอร์เอาเข้าว่าส่วนใหญ่มันเป็น personalize มันไม่ได้ยากหรอกว่านะexpect ว่าน่าจะอย่างนั้นอันนี้มันเทคนิคเกินไอ้ before report after report footer header after fill อะไรพวกเนี้ยนี่เทคนิคไป
เดี๋ยวสุดท้ายเขาก็จะกลับสุดท้ายพี่แล้วผมถามหน่อยว่าไอ้ตัวนี้วันหน้าถ้าเกิดแก้อันนี้พี่ตัวแพนว่าจะแก้กันเองหรือว่าจะส่งให้ PTT ดิจิตอลต่อถ้าเกิดว่ามีเคสพวกนี้ที่คัสตอม
PTT ดิจิตอลเคยคุยแล้วเขาไม่รับอินโฟเลยเขาดูแต่แซฟอย่างเดียวเคยคุยหลายรอบตอนนี้ก็จะมี
ตอนนี้ก็เลยเป็นทีม
ใช่
ก็เลยเป็นทีมที่เลย
ถูกไม่แต่ว่าเวนเดอร์พี่มีในมือคือโปรซอฟต์ไงเขาเป็นเวนเดอร์ในไทยที่ คิดว่าเก่งสุด
ท
ถ้า Product Info นะ
แต่ว่าผมไปแอบอ่านแมนนวลด็อกเขาคือพวก API พี่มันจะอยู่ในพาร์ท AP แต่ว่ามันเขียนว่าเป็น Application Partner แต่เขาไม่ได้สอนเราเขาสอนเราแค่ TX ผมเลยไม่รู้ว่า เราจะได้เรียนการสร้าง API อะไรอย่างเงี้ยผมกะว่า
ไม่
จะเอาไป
คนละ
คัสตอม
อัน
อื่นๆเลยคนละอันเลย
ไม่
ใช่ไหม
ไม่
เพราะผมดูแล้วมัน
WP1
ไม่ได้อยู่ในสโคป
ใช่ WP1 ไม่มี อันนี้คือแค่ทำพวก component ทำ component พวก field พวก table อะไรเราทำเงื่อนไขทำอะไรก็ว่าไป
ผมไปดูแล้วพวกแบบไอตัวโมดูล AP เขาเอาไว้สอนพวกกลุ่มที่เป็นพาร์ทเนอร์แบบโปรซอฟเขาที่สามารถดึง API ไปใช้ได้หรือเอาไปคัสตอมอะไรได้อะไรเงี้ยแต่เขาไม่น่าสอนให้ user
ใช่ไม่มีด้วย
เดี๋ยวได้
ต้องเป็น WP3
เอาละWP3 เขาจะให้เหรอ
ให้ WP3 เขาจะเราจะมีเรารีเควสว่าขอเป็น technical training ที่เป็นการสร้าง API หรือพวก interface ถ้าคุณใหญ่สนใจก็ไปเข้าได้
ใช่คือผมคิดว่าแบบคือบางอย่างมันดึงคือผมมีความชอบผมรู้สึกว่าผมเขียนเป็นโคดดิ้งกับมาเข้า Power BI เป็นรีพอร์ตหรือว่าแบบออกมาทำเป็นพวกเทวินอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันง่ายกว่าผมไปใช้เพราะมันคือภาษาที่เราคุ้นเคยอยู่แล้วไงแต่ขอแค่เรา access database ได้ผ่านพวก API อะไรอย่างเงี้ยผมว่ามันก็ง่ายกว่าอะไร
ตั้งใจอยากแบบนั้น
ใช่ถ้าเกิดเขามี API ให้นะเพราะว่าผมก็ไม่รู้ว่าถ้าเป็นแบบนี้แบบ
มันไม่ค่อยเปิดหรอกมั้งในพูดถึงระบบ Enterprise เขาไม่เปิดหรอกเนี่ยทุกคนก็มันเป็นความเสี่ยงไงเข้าหลังบ้านไปเก็บ Data แล้วก็ไปทำที่อื่นคือตอนนี้เหมือนเขาจะมีตัว component ชื่อ EC connector เอาจาก cloud มาที่ on premise ก่อนแต่สุดท้ายในด้านเนี้ยไม่รู้ว่ามันต้อง conflict หรือต้องมีข้อจำกัดอะไรไหมหรือมีการ governance อะไรไหมแต่ผมคิดว่าเวที่คุณใหญ่อยากได้มัน possible แต่ว่าพอมันทำมันอาจจะติดพวก governance อะไรเงี้ยไม่แน่ใจนะ
ผมเลยไม่ได้เนี่ยแหละผมก็ยังดูอยู่เหมือนกันเพราะว่าถ้าเกิดเป็นอย่างนั้นคือผมก็จะสมมติว่าเวลาทีมไฟแนนซ์ถามผมว่าไอ้แบบนี้พอทำได้ไหมพี่อยากได้รีพอร์ตแบบนี้พอได้ไหมอะไรเงี้ยคือถ้าเกิดผมจะตอบได้ทันทีว่าถ้าเกิดผมเข้า Database ได้ไอ้แบบที่พี่ว่าผมทำให้ได้เพราะว่าเราเคยทำมาหรืออาจจะเป็นรุ่น Power BI หรืออาจจะเป็นอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่ถ้าเกิดว่าเขาไม่ allow ให้เข้า Database แล้วไปใช้บนทูของเขาทีเนี้ยมันต้องมารอเรียนไงรอเรียนว่าทูเขาทำได้แค่ไหนอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
ถูกครับถูกนะคุณใหญ่ถามว่าไอตัวได้คุณยาวจบอ่ะ
เพราะว่าผมมีความรู้สึกว่าสิ่งที่บัญชีต้องการมันค่อนข้างแอดวานซ์ทั้งที่มันแบบคือผมไม่รู้มันไม่รู้ว่ามันจะเป็นจริงไหมหรือเขาต้องการของเขาเองอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะผมก็ไม่แน่ใจเหมือนกันอะไร
ใช่อันนี้ต้องระวังนะคุณใหญ่ผมอย่างนี้ผมอยากวาง approach หรือ strategy อย่างเงี้ยคืออย่าเพิ่งไปสร้าง expect ให้ user ว่ามันต้องทำได้ถึงขนาดนั้นนะเอาแบบให้เขา standard ก่อนเมื่อเดี๋ยวมันมาแบบตอนที่ UAT แล้วมันจะวุ่นวายกันคืออย่างน้อยเอา UAT ผ่านก่อนแล้วที่เหลือให้มันเล็กๆน้อยๆที่เรายอมallowให้ทำ
คือผมว่าแบบผมคิดว่าคงไปกองให้คงแบบเหมือนกับว่าให้เขาอยากได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็คงให้เขามากองไว้ที่นึงก่อนแต่ว่าสุดท้ายคนที่จะบอกว่าทำหรือไม่ทำมันก็ไม่ใช่อำนาจตัดสินใจของผมอะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็ต้องนำไปหาพี่ตัวพี่ลิกกี้อะไรเงี้ยหรือว่าข้างบนอะไรเงี้ยในการฟันว่าทำไม่ทำอย่างนั้นดีกว่าผมว่านะ
มันจะเหมือนมอสโกเนี่ยทุกคนจะไม่ใช้สแตนดาร์ด
ใช่บางคนยังไม่ผมเจอหลายอันเลยแบบแซฟส่วนใหญ่เขาจะอิงจากแซฟไงที่แบบแล้วมันทำได้นู่นนี่นั่นเลยไงบอกใจเย็นๆใจ
เข้าใจนั่นแหละผมก็เลยคิดว่าเนี่ยถ้าเราไปเปิด expectation ให้ user คาดหวังสูงเดี๋ยวมันจะมี custom เต็มไปหมดไงแล้วสุดท้ายเราไม่เข้าถึง standard
แต่ส่วนใหญ่แต่ถามว่าทุกวันนี้ expect มาจากไหนมาจากแซฟแหละว่าอยากได้เหมือนแซฟแต่มันคนละราคากันเนาะพี่ในความเป็นจริง
คนละราคาไม่ได้หรอก
ราคา12กับ80มันคนละเรื่องกันนะ
ถูก user ต้องตัดใจตรงนั้น
โอเคอันนี้เดี๋ยว
คุณใหญ่ผมถามเรื่อง เอา system หน่อยดิผมสนใจมากเลยเราสามารถ borrow ได้จริงไหม
อะไรนะพี่
ไอตัว เอา system ของ GC ที่มันเป็นพวก low code platform
ผมผมเคยได้ยินอันเนี้ยผมก็คิดว่าแต่ใครจะต้องไปคุยไงพี่ผมเข้าใจว่า เอา system เขาซื้อมาแล้วนะ
ใช่เขาซื้อมาใช้อยู่เขาทำพวก phone directory เป็นอะไรพวกเนี้ยแต่ผมเข้าใจว่าเขามีไลเซนส์อยู่
ถูก
แล้วครั้งนี้ตอนนั้นผมเคยที่จะขอใช้ของเขาแต่ว่ามันติดอยู่ที่ว่ามันอยู่บนโดเมน GC แล้วมันมีเรื่องของ data ที่มัน data มันก็ไปกองอยู่ที่ GC นะ
อันนี้
บางอย่างมันมีเรื่อง compliance เรื่องของ data ที่มัน across entity ด้วย
อันนี้ พอแบ่งมาเป็น50-50อะผมไม่รู้เรื่องพวกนี้เลยอะพี่ว่ามันจะได้ไหมอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่ว่าเอา system เมื่อก่อนอะเขาก็ให้ ME ใช้ได้นะ แต่ ME อะมันคือ GC 100ไงพี่เพราะว่ามันมีบางแอปพลิเคชันบางอย่างอะครับเขาก็ให้อย่างเช่นพวกการบันทึกงานซ่อมอะไรพวกที่ ME ไปเซอร์วิสอะพี่ตัวเขาก็ให้ ME สร้างแอปพลิเคชันนะครับพี่พวกแบบ CRUD พื้นฐานง่ายๆครับบันทึกซ่อมวันไหนอะไรผลเป็นยังไงอะไรเงี้ยบันทึกค่าอะไรเงี้ยแล้วก็ส่งรีพอร์ตให้ลูกค้าคือผมก็คิดว่า ME ก็เป็นคนละบริษัทกับ GC นะแต่เขาก็
แต่เขา
แต่เขา
จะชาร์จผ่านแชร์
100%ไง
service คือ
อ๋อ
คือตอนเนี้ยWCL ก็สามารถใช้ได้ถ้าต้องการเนี่ยแต่มันก็จะชาร์จผ่านแชร์ service อันนี้ผมไม่รู้ว่าถ้ามันชาร์จผ่านแชร์ service แต่ไลเซนส์ที่มันนับอ่ะมันจะนับตามคนที่ developer หรือว่ามันนับตามคนที่ใช้ด้วยคราวนี้มันก็เหมือนกับเราซื้อใหม่อ่ะ
คือคือถ้าที่ GC มีอ่ะพี่สิ่งที่ GC มีนะ GC มี Antelic GC มี All System อ่ะแล้ว Antelic อ่ะไลเซนส์ยังไม่ที่ซื้อมาที่จ่ายรายปีอ่ะยังใช้ไม่ครบเลยใช่ป่ะแล้วโควต้าต่อปีอ่ะ All System ก็เหมือนกันอะไรเงี้ยคือผมอ่ะคิดว่าแบบถ้าเกิดเป็นงานบัญชีอะไรที่อย่างเช่นเรื่อง ROU อ่ะที่เมื่อก่อนทำในแซฟได้ผมก็อยากจะเอา Antelic มาใช้เหมือนกันนะเพราะว่าพวกเนี้ยมันแค่วางไฟล์แล้วที่เหลือ Antelic ก็จะ handle ทั้งหมดด้วยแบบ one click อ่ะคล้ายๆเป็น RPA อะไรอย่างเงี้ย แล้วพวก Antelic มันก็มีพวกแบบ OCR ในตัวอะไรอย่างนี้ด้วยไงพี่ซึ่งค่อนข้างแม่นอยู่นะ
ใช่ใช่
ผม
แต่
ก็เลยคิดว่ามันน่าจะ
แหละ
แต่พวกนี้ไม่รู้ว่ามันคือถ้าเป็นคน GC อ่ะไปขอไลเซนส์พวกนี้มันจะไม่ยาก แต่ผมไม่รู้ว่าถ้าขอในนาม WTC จะเป็นยังไงอะไรเงี้ย
ผมว่าไม่ยากเหมือนกันเป็นแต่ว่าเราจะเอามาใช้แล้วมันจะตกเข้าสแตนดาร์ดยังไงบ้างอะไรเงี้ยคือมันต้องวางกลยุทธ์อะคือผมกังวลแค่กลยุทธ์นะคือถ้าอยากใช้ใช้ได้ผมคิดว่าเราขอไม่
คือ
น่ายาก
ผมมองว่ามันเป็นอย่างนี้พี่ตัวในมุมมองของผมผมมองว่ามันต้องมีแลนด์สเคปทั้งหมดอันนี้ผมข
ใช่
อยกตัวอย่างจากเช่นบัญชีนะสมมติว่าเรามีแลนด์สเคปของงานทั้งหมดเรื่อง Line of Use เป็นหนึ่งในนั้นอย่างเช่น Line of Use เนี่ยเรา LN เนี่ย LN Core ทำไม่ได้แล้วเราออกตีกันแล้วว่าคัสใหม่ที่เขาทำได้มันไม่ accept เราทำข้างนอกดีกว่าแต่เราจะเอาพวกนี้มาลด man hour หรือว่ามาแบบเป็น benefit ของ WGCL โดยเอาAntelic เข้ามาอะไรแบบนี้พี่แต่มันต้องกางเป็น landscape ว่า
ใช่
end to end
นั่นแห
ทั้
ละ
งหมด
ที่กังวล
สม
ตรงนั้น
มติว่ามี100 งานใช่ไหมถ้าแบบนั้นผมมีอยู่พี่ผมเขียนพวกนี้ขึ้นมาอยู่แล้วว่าอันไหนจะต้องแก้ด้วยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยพี่
นั่นแหละพี่อยากดูคนตรงนี้ด้วยแหละแล้วก็อยากลองขอลองทายสักหนึ่ง user account หรือ3 account ที่เป็น IT ก่อนก่อนค่อยขยายตัว landscape ตัวเนี้ยใน WCL เนาะที่ใช้พวกเอา system เพิ่มพี่ก็เลยยังไม่กล้าตัดสินใจว่าจะใช้ดีหรือไม่ใช้ดี แต่ตัวมันเองมันดี
ใช่คือผมว่าจริงๆมัน flexible เพราะว่าจริงๆพี่ตัวจำเรื่อง ESS ได้ไหมไอตัวที่จะมา replace ผมยังคิดอยู่เลยว่าจริงๆเอา system มันก็ทำตรงนั้นได้นะพี่ตัวที่ให้พนักงานมา reimburse พวก travel expense พวกอะไรแบบเนี้ย
พี่ไม่อยากกระตกกระตากเพราะอะไรเพราะว่าสุดท้ายตัวเอา system เองมันก็ต้องมีคนเมนเทนต่อเราไม่เหมือน GC อย่างว่าเขามีแบ็กออฟฟิศที่เป็นพวกดิจิตอลเนี่ยเกิดอะไร
นี่
ขึ้นทางดิจิตอล
พี่ตัวจ้างผมเนี่ยผมมานั่งเมนเทน นี่เดี๋ยวผมก็ดีมานั่งเมนเทนให้
เรามาวางแลนด์สเคปกันก็ได้นะพี่ว่ามันน่าสนใจ
ผมว่า
เอา
เอาเป็นผมผมว่าเอาซิสเต็มกับคืออันเทเล็กพี่ผมมีเซอร์ติฟิเคตเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กันอยู่แล้ว แต่ว่าคือผมกำลังคิดว่าเดี๋ยวผมขึ้นแลนด์สเคปมาก่อนแหละอันไหนเป็นเอาซิสเต็มอันไหนเป็นอะไรแต่ว่าอันเทเล็กผมคิดว่าผมจะทำออกมาเดโมใช้พวก ROU พวกอะไรแบบเนี้ยผมจะเอาอันเทเล็กมาใช้ก่อนแล้วเดี๋ยวไปนำเราค่อยมาคุยกันอีกทีแหละพี่ตัวอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
แต่พี่ว่าคุยเรื่องแลนด์สเคปมันก่อนเพราะว่าอยู่ดีเราไปเสนอเลย
ใช่มันไม่ได้แต่ทีเนี้ยปัญหาของผมก็คือว่ายูเซอร์ผมก็จะแบบอารมณ์ประมาณว่าเฮ้ยมันต้องทำให้ได้ดิ LN ต้องทำให้ได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ย
นั่นแห
มัน
ละเอาโฟกัส
ทำไม่ได้
LN
ได้
ก่อน
ยังไง
โฟกัส LN ก่อนไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวโดนบอทคุณเหรียญเขาตบเอา
ใช่ผมก็เลยคิดว่าเดี๋ยวเราต้องเอาพวกที่เราเคยมองว่าเป็น must have แล้ว LNทำไม่ได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะเขาไม่สามารถคัสตอมให้ได้อย่างเช่นของผมก็จะเป็นเรื่อง ROU กับพวก reporting อะไรอย่างเงี้ยพวกอย่างนั้นเดี๋ยวค่อยมาว่ากันเป็น Power BI หรือเป็นอะไรก็ได้แต่ว่าต้องขึงออกมาเป็น landscape แหละแล้วเดี๋ยวค่อยเอาชื่อแอปพลิเคชันไปปลักว่าจะทำด้วยอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
แต่ผมบอกคุณใหญ่ได้เลยว่าพวกเอาซิสเต็มหรืออะไรอัลโทนิกตรงเนี้ยมันน่าจะเกิดจากหลังรีวิว3เพราะโค้ดเราอยากให้อยู่ใช้ LN ให้มากสุดก่อนดังนั้นคือแบบต้องไม่ได้ต้องเป็นฟิวเจอร์จริงๆฟิวเจอร์ของฟิวเจอร์
ใช่คือผมคิดว่าทุกอย่างมันต้องเสร็จก่อนนะพี่ตัว
ถูก
มันเสร็จก่อนแล้วอะไรที่ทำไม่ได้เราค่อยมาคุยกันว่าทีเนี้ยจะทำด้วยวิธีไหนมันคุ้มไหมอะไรเงี้ยถ้าเรายืมไลเซนส์ได้แค่คอนฟิกคนเมนเทนอะไรอย่างเงี้ยผมว่าอันนั้นก็ค่อยมาคุยกันอะไรอย่างเงี้ยพี่ตัวแต่เราพยายามทรายที่ LN ที่สุดแล้วอันนี้ผมเห็นด้วยแต่ผมคิดว่ามันต้องมีแลนด์สเคปที่เป็น end to end ก่อนแหละ
โอเคงั้นเข้าใจตรงกัน
อืม
คนนี้ถามคุณอย่างนี้สิถ้าผมอยากลองเอามาใช้ก่อนมันต้องคอนเนคกับใครใครดูตัวเอาซิสเต็ม
เอาซิสเต็มใช่ไหม
ใช่เดี๋ยวผมไปคุยแล้วก็อาจจะลอง
ตอนนั้น
แบบ
ผมเป็นใครวะผมลืมชื่อแล้วพี่
ทีมเด็กปะทีมเด็กนั่นไม่ใช่ทีมพี่นิว
ไม่เอาซิสเต็มไม่ใช่เด็กนะเอาซิสเต็มตอนแรกผมเข้าใจว่าเป็นเด็กแต่เป็นทีมไอทีนี่แหละ
แต่ว่าได้แฮนด์โอเวอร์ไปให้ทีแล้ว
ใช่พี่
อ๋อยพี่อะไรมั่งพี่ตัวอย่าง
ผมจำชื่อจริงไม่ได้ เดี๋ยวผมถามเพื่อนให้อีกทีหนึ่งพี่ แต่ผมว่าพี่ตัวถามก็น่าจะได้เหมือนกันโอเคครับ
ได้ครับขอบคุณครับผม
ครับขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ